桜千代さん、こんにちは。お願いします。ちょっと待ってください。えーっと。じゃあ、ブラックドラゴン戦見てきます。
Full of strats for Siege. The hatch again. It's like
I think the Siege world does feel like it's becoming a little bit smaller. Like you say, everybody's looking around the regions and just because they're recognizing the absolute talent and the depth of ability that we're seeing in these different.
I'm not against floor. Round number 2 then. We're going to repeat once more. Downstairs because one coming up between Team Liquid and Black Dragons. The big piece that I've got focused on for this fixture is that Liquid are a team we're all excited about. Black Dragons have never beaten Team Liquid. They've drawn with them twice, but Team Liquid have won 7 times. Liquid no doubt going to be focused on trying to protect that almost flawless record. Into the operator bands though, Tim, you can talk us through these.
So far, we've seen Liquid taking Thatcher and Wamai out when they have played here, so we will see if that continues. They don't have to take Thatcher because Black Dragons they're going to do the job for them. Will their ban be Wamai, or will they go through a sort of different idea down a different road? Nope, it stays exactly as it was previously. So Liquid have
Check
obviously got a game
1, 2,
plan
1,
there.
2.
They want to be bringing some throwables, and they don't want that Jaeger Wamai combo being able to take down too much of it. So Thatcher, Capitao, Wamai will be joined by Mira, which is not too much of a surprise. She is, I would dare to say, if not absolutely 100%, she is very close to 100% ban here in LATAM.
No big surprise, really. It slows down the game a little bit too much for some teams. And I think, although it's kind of an old sort of way that LATAM's held in regard, it's an aggressive region. They do like their gunfights. They do like the likes of Pala, of Nest, all the other names you can think of, just charging through the enemy team. That's really not so easy when you're being held back by a mirror window. Someone sits behind it, steps out, sprays you, you're down on the ground, you're dead. End of story. Not clicking too many heads, sadly, when you're no longer in the field. So it makes total sense to see it taken away. Let's see how things play out. And you know what, Ace? You are going to have to teach me site names here because this is going to be a whole new ball game for me. I was maybe hoping for a 2F or a 1F or a B.
Oh, no.
I'm seeing none of those.
There's words that you will start to learn, Des, but we are going to laundry to begin with. I will give you the heads up. Went all the way down to the basement here. But yeah, there's some words that you'll start to pick up on as you go along that are common throughout the maps. Things like the word for kitchen, that's a common one, and some of them just make sense. We've got CCTV on Clubhouse that's Vigilancia. There's things that just make sense. So heading down to laundry in map number 1 then. Liquid versus Black Dragons, and we are on Oregon. We haven't seen Black Dragons play this map yet, so we don't necessarily know exactly what to expect from them. But we've only seen them here once, so the information is limited, but they did do very well on the attack, so we can see them having a successful start to this one. Interestingly, though, the only site, Des, that they did lose on attack was Laundry Basement. Attacked twice, lost twice. So they're going to have to bring something new to the table here than maybe what we saw last time out.
I mean, kind of the point of Siege is that it's a game of variation, right? You don't want to do the same thing round after round or it becomes super readable, super predictable. And, you know, Team Empire, I think, are a team that everyone looks at and thinks, oh, doing the same thing over and over again and being successful? Yeah, sure, maybe in the old days. But here in the modern day Siege, you can't afford to be that static in your gameplay. So it is going to be an element of keeping the other team guessing, surprising them, doing something new between rounds. Was that almost unfortunate pre-fire coming out there potentially onto PSK? Or was that just an excellently timed pre-fire coming out of the defenders?
I'm not sure exactly. We'll see. But damage was done one way or another, and it is onto the thermite. You've always got to be careful with that because ultimately, you know, a couple of inches higher, you've got a headshot and you've lost your hard breach. So, you know, and hard breach is an important operator potentially on this site. It depends exactly where you're going to push from. If you're going from either the freezer or construction side, then yes, you are going to need some hard breach. But we've seen quite a lot of laundry stairs and rear stage stairs pushers here in LATAM so far. There has been quite a lot of attention paid to those two areas, just down the stairs and into sight, sort of brute force. But this time it looks like we do have a couple of Liquid players just stacked up towards the bunker side there.
This is kind of the standard side to hold. You keep them out of bunker. Saw his head there. I'm all at the hat of him there. Could try and take that clean at the top of his noggin, but not going to be able to hit any shots just yet. You always want to have control of this north side. It's kind of the go-to standard attack, but we are seeing some teams start to spice things up with a laundry tape, freezer, things like that. So here maybe there is a little bit of opportunity to innovate and be the difference makers here in LATAM. A couple of times now we've seen these peaks come through, but no shots yet landing for either side. Very slow start coming out, and oh my god, a bit aggressive there coming out of PZD. He's going to bring down Pala, but Nesk is going to trade that one back in. For aggressive there, opportunity tape with looking in through freezer, things like that. So here maybe there is a little bit of opportunity to innovate and be the difference makers here in LATAM. A couple of times now we've seen him there.
Stage stairs pushers here in LATAM so far. There has been quite a lot of attention paid to those two areas, just down the stairs and into sight, sort of brute force. But this time it looks like we do have a couple of Liquid players just stacked up towards the bunker side there.
上から押さえてるから OK みたいな感じなんですか。
I'm all at the hat of him there. Could try and take that clean at the top of his noggin, but not going to be able to hit any shots just yet. You always want to have control of this north side. It's kind of the go-to standard attack, but we are seeing some teams start to spice things up with a laundry tape, with looking in through freezer, things like that. So here maybe there is a little bit of opportunity to innovate and be the difference makers here in LATAM.
あ、はい、あげます。で、メタをそう、確かに。
Very slow start coming out, and oh my god, a bit aggressive there coming out of PZ.
それぐらいで大丈夫でしょう。またなんかあったら。
He's going to trade that one back in. 4 versus 4 and only 50 seconds to go.
Power and Ness both very good on the entry so far. Power losing out that time, but it is absolutely no surprise to see Nesk right over his shoulder, duoing up and just ready to trade his teammate out. And that will leave us 4 versus 4. Nesk takes an awful lot of damage for his trouble there on the Ash. That leaves him just a breath away from losing his life as well. He's going to have to be careful, but we have seen Nesk already in this season be extremely efficient with those hit points. Sexy Cake will open up his account for today with a kill onto Hornetau, so that will be the Jaeger off the board. 4 versus 3, time ticking away here, and that could be the biggest enemy for Liquid. And I think from what I remember previously, that was something that they suffered to last time, not getting into position quick enough. Hugzord shuts down Moringa. 7 seconds to go, 3 versus 3, and the kills start to rain in. 2 versus 1 as Ness gets a double. PSK goes in to get the diffuser down. Fall down to Ness to cover him. Hugzord, I'm not sure he knows exactly where the diffuser's going down, but Ness will get that there. That was something that they subbed. So Sexy Cake will open up his account for today with a kill onto Hornetau, so that will be the Jaeger off the board. 4 versus 3, time ticking away here, and that could be the biggest enemy for Liquid. And I think from what I remember previously, that was something that they suffered to last time, not getting into position quick enough. Hugzord shuts down Moringa. 7 seconds to go, 3 versus 3, and the kills start to rain in. 2 versus 1 as Ness gets a double. PSK goes in to get the diffuser down. Fall down to Ness to cover him. Hugzord, I'm not sure he knows exactly where the diffuser's going down, but Nesk will get the third. 4 on the round. Great plays from Nesk, and exactly like I said, it doesn't matter how few hit points he's got. He comes in and squeezes every last drop of killing out of them.
If Hawk sort of pulled the trigger half a second before that shot came through from Nesk, that would have been round 1 going their way. They would have interrupted the defuse. The time would have still been below 0. Round would have been over. And you could see how frantically he was checking multiple angles there, just so afraid that you're going to have a shotgun come flying through a wall somewhere and disrupt his precious planter. But alas, they managed to hold on. Good play coming out of Hugzord, mind you, to hold inside a blue bunker. Did a really good job of holding towards the south. Most players would have backed through that wall and reinforced it long ago, but he did more than enough to waste time down there. Unfortunate for Black Dragons, because that looked to be potentially the round for them, but no, it's Liquid sat at 1-0.
great plays from Ness. Coming in there, he had about 7 HP and just absolutely dominated that round. And what that really shows is the level of game sense and knowledge that Ness is playing with. He is aware, even on a new map, he is aware of the angles, he is aware of where he's exposing himself to, because he couldn't even allow one shot to hit him in any of those gunfights. So he's going to have come in there and he's going to have been winning fights without ever really being contested. And that just shows the level that he is thinking on. And it is unbelievable to watch. How's about that for a first round of LATAM, Des? It doesn't get much more exciting, does it? And the thing is, get ready for about another 60 of them tonight.
Maybe even more than 60 if they go the full distance. He was like Spider-Man in that first round there. The spider sense was tingling at every single turn, but as you say, one shot from Black Dragons would have been enough to bring him down, but unfortunately not really coming from any given direction. Round number 2 then, we're going to repeat once more. Downstairs we go into the dark, dingy basement. I gotta say it's one of my favourite sites in the game at this point for a couple of reasons. One being that there's kind of 3 concentrated areas of attack that attackers can come from. To the north, in towards Freezer, or in towards Laundry, and also adding in the fact there is no soft flooring. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against floorboards, I'm not against destructible surfaces. I love floorboards and destructible surfaces. Don't know why, it's something I do. In my mind though, this is different for a site because there's no opportunity to play for that vertical play. It does come down to pushing with utility on the downstairs, flashing out corners as you push your way in, and trying to take gunfights on that lateral level. It just makes for a different style of siege that you don't really get to see all that much in the game.
You exactly right. It's just something a little bit different. We do get a slight amount of vertical play being brought in from the hatches. We saw it last time. It's specifically to pressure this electrical and bunker area that you're looking at now, and it's just to try and force the defenders to move away, as they will do there. Out goes the Nitro from PZD, but it will be unsuccessful. Sexy Kid more than alive to that. As I said, his survival and Nesk's survival particularly, I think they've been at about a 50% survival rate. If you think of that, map after map, it's absolutely ludicrous realistically. You know, we had a game, a 12-round game for Liquid yesterday, and Nesk only died 6 times. That is madness.
Well, the man is regarded as one of the best players in the world for a good reason. You need to be able to click on heads at a good pace, and like you say, click on stats that you mentioned just a second ago. Down about 65 seconds left, though, and it's a couple of times now Black Dragons have definitely ran the clock down. Ness still hanging out just outside of Blue Bunker. We've seen them in this spot before, and we're going to see Hugsword, I imagine, once again playing with the shotgun down on the L. In fact, there's 2 of them stacking up here pretty nice and close. No ADSs this time round, mind you. I'm not quite sure where they've been brought, if they've been cleared out potentially by the attackers already. This just means it's a bit riskier for him to hang around here, even with a shotgun in hand. May have to see him back away sooner rather than later, but given how he acted in the last round, maybe aggression is the name of the game, and being over-aggressive is going to be the play instead.
That's exactly it,
You're in LATAM now. Aggression is where we go. Hugsword aggresses straight onto Ness. They're going to have no more 4Ks from him today. And a quick double comes in from Hornetau as well. Paula and Sexy Kate going by the wayside. Patoxy onto PSK leaves us in a 1 versus 5. Moringa has it all to do. He had a difficult day yesterday, so this is going to be a big ask for him. He will get number 1 onto Hugsword. Shut down shortly after. Lagonis, it is the man finishing him back away sooner rather down on the, and it's a couple of times now stats that you mentioned just a second ago. Down about 65 seconds left, though, and it's a couple of times now Black Dragons have definitely ran the clock down. Ness still hanging out just outside of Blue Bunker. We've seen them in this spot before, and we're going to see Hugsword, I imagine, once again playing with the shotgun down on the L. In fact, there's 2 of them stacking up here pretty nice and close. No ADSs this time round, mind you. I'm not quite sure where they've been brought, if they've been cleared out potentially by the attackers already. This just means it's a bit riskier for him to hang around here, even with a shotgun in hand. May have to see him back away sooner rather than later, but given how he acted in the last round, maybe aggression is the name of the game, and being over-aggressive is going to be the play instead. That's exactly it, Des. You're in LATAM now. Aggression is where we go. Aggresses straight onto Ness. They're going to have no more 4Ks from him today. And a quick double comes in from Hornetau as well. Paula and Sexy Kate going by the wayside. Patoxy onto PSK leaves us in a 1 versus 5. Moringa has it all to do. He had a difficult day yesterday, so this is going to be a big ask for him. He will get number 1 onto Hugsword. Shut down shortly after. Lagonis, it is the man finishing him off, and that brings us to 1-1 on the scoreboard very quickly. And 2 dominant rounds in very different ways, and that just boils my blood even more, Des, because I know how close and exciting this game's going to be.
To boil your blood, and I was like, why are you angry, Tim? What's to be angry about?
Des.
And so you should be. I mean, it's so interesting seeing both rounds go completely different directions there. The first one, I mean, both really playing out in the first 2 minutes in a very similar way. You've got the majority of the side of Liquid pushing in from construction to pushing down the tower stairs as well, looking to get control of the boiler area. But two fundamentally different results. One, resulting in Liquid getting themselves full control of the site and going for a plant, even with Hugsword holding inside of L. The second round, he finds himself a couple of kills playing inside of the blue bunker, gets Nesk as one of the entry kills as well. That's the big, I think, given how much work Nest did in the previous round. One thing's for sure, you're in for a game in this first half. 1-1 it sits, and now we move away from that downstairs site as the defenders have come away victorious and find ourselves up on the top floor. Now, back in the old days, let me get my walking stick out. I always remember Mute being played up here because there's only two ways you can really draw on the top floor. There's going to be the white stairs down towards the southwest and the one out towards Armory stairs. There is, of course, now Attic becoming much more of a prominent kind of play part of this site. So that's why you see Patoxy dropping down one of those mute jammers on that wall to at least slow the attackers down when the attempt comes in to take Attic.
Yeah, you're almost certainly going to see a three-pronged approach to this one. Two at the absolute least, and that's going to be one in through Master Closet right side of your screen now. One heading from the big tower into Attic, as Des just pointed out. And then potentially we sometimes get a little bit of pressure applied from double window as well. It just depends how the round's playing out and how much rotating is going on in sight and whether the attackers feel like they could get some mileage out of that window as defenders try to move across it from one area of the site to another. But so far, Liquid have done very well attacking this site, so we might just see a slightly more clinical approach from them. They did very well in round number one, but it did come down to a big Nesk 3k towards the end there, so they can't always rely on that. You know, it was interesting to see Sexy Cake, Palette, and Nesk taken off the board very quickly in round two, left with PSK and Moringa. Moringa had a tough day yesterday, but we know that he's very capable. PSK, 7 plants so far on the season. He's really doing his job as support, but only 23 kills, which is absolutely fine if you're doing the support work, but it's not the guy that you want necessarily left in a 2v5 situation. So no surprise to see Black Dragon successful there. And 1 minute into we've got some good early progress towards clearing that Attic out by the looks of things. Hugsword's just going to hold his line for the time being. He's waiting for the pressure to come, and come it will as the deployable shield is removed. He's still got his alibi Prisma decoy there, just waiting to maybe ping off anybody if they take the odd pop shot at it. But for now, Liquid, they're just on the drones and feeling out exactly what's going on inside.
Doing the right thing here. They want to make sure they've got control of Attic to be able to play on Kids window if they so choose. PZD dancing with death a little bit here on this window. Once again, a peek comes through. No player there, but neither side hits shots like two ships passing in the night. They'll evade each other at least for now. We're down to about 1 minute and 10. We've now got Attic control underway for the side of Liquid. And now the T2 numbers rotate off towards playing on Armory side here. So going to be a bit of a focus out towards the east, no doubt, for the side of Liquid. It's going to Black Dragons to try and hold them back, keep them inside the trophy, and stop them actually getting onto the site. And that's exactly what they're looking to do right here. It's PZD playing stupidly aggressive to try and keep Liquid at bay. They've got control of Attic now, as you can see. That east side is slowly coming away, but they've got to be so mindful of what PZD is doing. He's holding the perfect location here, daring them to try and step their way through. If they keep peek onto him here, he should win this gunfight out easy. He's in a prime position where no one really seems to know exactly where he is right now. I don't know if he sat around a mute jammer, but it seems Liquid have no clue exactly where he's holding.
And the time is ticking down, and that is going to become a big factor here. PSK is going to get himself onto that double window. He's got some support as well, and that tells me that Liquid are just trying to adapt things here, just trying to change things around. Lagon is absolutely deleting Nesk with a headshot there. Find ourselves now 5 versus 3, and Black Dragons so far are showing a really good proficiency at defending here on Oregon, and it gets better and better. Liquid are just trying to adapt things here, just trying to change things around. Lagon is absolutely deleting Nesk with a headshot there. Find ourselves now 5 versus 3, and Black Dragons so far are showing a really good proficiency at defending here on Oregon, and it gets better and better as Hornetow and Hugsword just double up once again, exactly as we saw in round 2. 2 for Hornetow, 1 for Hugsword, 3 go quickly off the board, and that's round number 3 going to Black Dragons. And right now, they're looking like a bit of a force on Oregon.
Pretty insane. And, you know, chat, look, don't string me up for this, right? But at the very start, 83% of you said Team Liquid are taking this one. In that last round there, I think we have seen the exact case that this could end up being a draw in my mind, because Liquid attacked that almost perfectly. They did everything right. They got control of Attic. They rotated over to taking Master and Armory, pushed in from the east side there, got into a spot to be able to deliver. Knew that PZD was a problem playing on Dorm's door, so what did they do? Sent a player to go and take White. But Black Dragons knew. They responded. They brought him down in a matter of seconds as soon as he got anywhere near the top of White stairs, and it turned into a flawless round. They just bit back at the perfect moments, despite Liquid looking very, very capable and proficient and timely on the attack. This is going to make for a really entertaining game, because if Liquid can attack like that again and again, I think they can keep on taking away the opportunity to win gunfights and potentially take rounds away in the attacking half here. When we switch, the big question I want to see is, can Black Dragons attack with the same pace, with the same ferocity that we have seen them on the defense?
That's the big question. And if we look at Liquid's previous performance on Oregon, they went 2-4 on the defense. So there is definitely holes there to be exposed. So I would suggest, if Black Dragons can have a strong defense here, even if they are only moderately capable on attack, they should be able to find the rounds that they need to close this one out as at a minimum a draw, if not pick up the win here on Oregon. And like you say, looking at that Twitch poll and, you know, just the general thoughts coming into this game, it would be a little bit of an upset. But as we've learned so far in LATAM, for the big teams, there are absolutely no guarantees.
I'm hoping there's a witch hunt going on in chat for me saying, oh, this could turn into a draw. I'm sorry. I disagree with the majority. I think
we don't do witch hunts in LATAM, Des. It's a friendly environment, let me tell you.
Well, I'll save that one for another day. Let's go then. 2-1 so far. The first quarter being done and dusted. It's Black Dragons currently in the advantage. As you'd probably expect, coming into the defensive half, if things carry on at this current trend, things should conclude at 4-2 to Black Dragons, and then we switch over to the other half and maybe see come back the same the other way. The reason why you are seeing this top floor coming out here when we're looking at a downstairs site is that you want control of all this soft destruction. Remember how I said how much I like the downstairs site because there is no soft destruction? Equally, I like these upstairs sites, the ones on the ground floor, because there is a lot of soft destruction you can employ. So this vertical control is going to be really important for the side of Liquid. Equally, that now means for Black Dragons, given how ferocious they were on their last defense, this is the prime opportunity to stick 2 or 3 members on the upstairs, 1 or 2 trying to contest on the ground floor itself, and just say, sorry guys, no go for you. You're not allowed to get to the spots that you want to be in for a power position. They let them do that last round and Black Dragons still won. This time around, it looks like they are hard saying, no, you're not even allowed to look at the site. Please stay away.
As you say, we can see Black Dragons just holding a high line up there towards the rear stage. Neski's going to get through onto Patoxy, and he does not need any more pixels than that to shut you down. Absolutely removing in there. That's the Goyo gone. His shields will be out and in action, so it's not the end of the world. But we see PSK coming in, and this is basically step 1 when attacking this site. Get control of Big Tower, open rear stage wall. That gives you your default plant spot, so then you just need to start working on getting enough control, pushing those defenders far enough back towards kitchen and main lobby, pushing them all the way back so that PSK can get in there and safely get that diffuser activated and on the ground. And that is, we know only too well exactly what he does so well for this Liquid team.
Can't help but feel like Hugsaw's been a little bit too keen at throwing out these smoke cannons. Keen to find PGD's head in response, and that's the top floor vigil removed. But Hugsaw burning all 3 of those, and even overlapping those smoke canisters. Painful. You need those in the final engagement. Speaking of final engagements, there's only 1 more left to take for the side of Liquid. Currently they're engaging that diffuser on the ground. It's another flawless round, but this time round over to the other team. How back and forth do we really want to get here, Ace?
Well, Des, I hope you like back and forth, because we've got another 5 maps to be guarantee. You probably had a look through the results. I'm certain you will have seen just how many draws that we've actually seen across these best of 2. And this is exactly why, because games just go backwards and forwards. Momentum means very little in LATAM, or certainly less than it does around the world. These teams are so resilient. They are so good at just fighting the way back into it, just tooth and nail. They really do just get themselves something out of absolutely nothing. And right now, we are 2-all, and there is nothing to separate Team Liquid and Black Dragons so far. There are no winners yet, but we're all winning at this stage, because what a game we are seeing so far. And we're only 4 rounds in. We've had some huge moments. Flawless rounds going in either direction. 4K from Nest. Plants going down. We have it all so far.
テルミットが
If this game turns into a draw, Liquid will have had more draws than they will have had wins or losses in that case. At this point, we should start calling the artists because they are bloody good at drawing, it turns out. And hopefully, this one turns into a win. We spoke about that draw against NIP in both maps back on the first day. Not super ideal. They want to step up here and be that team that we've seen them be over the years. They are one of the teams that are most decorated in LATAM for making it into international events and stepping up and making themselves heard. Let's not forget here, it's only a few teams at the end of the season. After all 18 maps, all 9 best of 2s have been played, that we get to see who's making it through to that LATAM major, the next one of course, or onto the global majors once it starts boiling down to that later on in the year. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, as
they are very firmly crossed, as are all my toes at all times.
Absolutely.
グリーンがスレッジが毎回あっちっていうのはカメラ壊したよなのかな。
Come back together once again. We can all enjoy those live events. But for the time being, Siege Rumble's on. There is nothing stopping this machine, and we will always find a way, as you say, this time around. 4 top teams from this division will be going into an online major. So the seeding, we keep talking about this. You know, these games between who we would expect to potentially see in that online major is so important to decide who you'll be going up against in those early rounds and just how easy an opportunity. I mean, there are no easy opportunities here when you look across the teams that are likely to be there, but just, you know, how much of an advantage or disadvantage you might find yourself at, just dependent on the success that you have during the season.
You're speaking about that machine, keeps on rolling. The Siege machine here, the Liquid machine carries on its sexy kick, starting out on the Monty. I've been watching a TV show called Snowpiercer recently, actually, and every time I see the kind of like CGI stuff with the front of the train, it's kind of going through a post-like freeze of the world. It's a train that keeps on going around 2.7 revolutions a year or something crazy like that. Whenever I see Monty now, I just picture him as the front of the train, and Liquid behind him are going to be the guns that come out, all guns blazing behind him, hopefully when they start getting themselves positioned up to take this site. Monty is so good at bullying defenders. If they sit in a static spot, good luck. He's going to corner you. You're going to have 2 or 3 guns bearing down you behind him. It's not going to be a pretty situation. But here right now, he's playing super passively. I think they're almost scared of going back down inside of construction. We are a minute and 45 in. Maybe we get a minute and 50 actually. And only just now are we starting to actually look to get inside blue bunker. This has been very slow from the side of Liquid. And that C4 coming out is going to connect onto Nest, but not bring him down. PCD has to do a trial by fire, quite literally running through his own flames, but will make it out alive. So consider that a trade between the 2 sides there.
違う、タワーミット、キッチンのところかな。
So far, what we've seen from Sexy Cake on the Montagne, you're not necessarily here today, but we saw him yesterday using that operator, and he was very aggressive with him. He was very good at bullying defenders out of their spots, and he just went right up in their faces and physically pushed them out of the way. It was on Clubhouse down Garage Catwalk. He just absolutely walked all the way to the end of it. He has been held back a little bit here. You're absolutely right, and that's interesting. We get an absolute rush coming in from Liquid there towards the pillars area. They've got control of the bottom half of the map. That's not going to give them the site they need necessarily. Moringa will get one onto Hornet Town. We see now that Sexy Cake has been able to aggress into site. Neski's following him in and gets a kill onto PZD. PSK now has the opportunity to get a plant down. Sexy Cake is just covering him. The plant will be successful. He moves in and we got a great view at the Liquid there. You're absolutely right. That's interesting. We get an absolute rush coming in from Liquid there towards the sort of pillars area. They've got control of the bottom half of the map now, but that's not going to give them the access to site. Moringa will get one onto Hornet Town. We see now that Sexy Cake has been able to aggress into site. Neski's following him in and gets a kill onto PZD. PSK now has the opportunity to get a plant down. Sexy Cake is just covering him. The plant will be successful. He moves in and we got a great view at the end there. Sexy Cake just clubbing Patoxy around the back of the head to finish things off. Diffuser down. That was a great attack from Liquid. It was a little bit different. I like unorthodox.
Liquid just became predictors of the future there. The way they played around the smoke canister coming out, very understandably from Hugsword, he was like, well, I'm safe behind the smoke. They can't push me. I can step back and be safe and not worry about getting pre-fired on the corner. But what did Liquid say? They go, you know what? That doesn't really hold us back. It just frees up another entryway. And what do? Charge straight into Boiler as you clock. They go for the default plant. But the big brain moment for me was where Sexy Cake then positioned himself on the Monty. He partnered himself up next to the bomb facing out towards Freezer, because that is an angle which, if you are as a defender holding the top of Freezer, you can spray the rotation that comes down through the bottom of Blue Bunker.
Yeah,
You're trying to go for a single
もう一回
rotation hole in the wall. You can spray from there in towards the default plant spot, out towards electric. You can even shoot through electric at the same point. It's a really, really powerful spot to hold. So by sticking a Monty there to block that sight line, there is no way that someone from the defensive side can late round rotate into Freezer, get a spray down onto the planter, and end the round there for the side of Liquid. Really smart play, and Liquid there with so much aggression and conviction about what they wanted to do. Show Black Dragons why they are one of the most revered teams here in LATAM.
And it's exactly when they needed it. Ultimately, we've said, you know, previously we've seen Liquid be strong on the attack here on Oregon. They didn't want to be coming out of this with any advantage for Black Dragons, because they then have to go on the defense, and they've not done fantastically well on that side of things before. So they need a 4-2 here, really, in all honesty, to Liquid. We're heading now, Des. A little bit of learning for you. One of those common words you're going to see, cozinha. So that's kitchen.
Cozinha.
And we've got salad de jantar, which is jantar means dinner, so it's
salad de jantar.
Yeah, jantar is dinner, and then that's going to be the dining area. There you go.
I guess now,
bringing you into LATAM, bringing you into the fold, Des.
Well, if I ever go to Brazil in this case, at least I know I can say, where's the kitchen, and please show me to the dining room, and that's probably about as far as we can get. I mean, earlier on I had to have you tell me to say Campeonato Brasileiro, right? And I was just like, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to say this.
Look at you.
Hey, look, you taught me. I learned from the best, mate. What more can I say? Yeah, let me just get out that dictionary when I go over there and just make sure I'm definitely saying things right. Because I guarantee you, I'll forget that word by the end of the day, and every other word you taught me so far, I've already forgotten what kitchen is. So there you go. I'm not a good learner, mate.
Well, Liquid are right now pushing towards Cozinha Des, and they are just trying to get some control over the meat inside and Attic by those things. As you said, top floor very, very important. So they're going to look to get into Attic. You can see them up above us right now. Armour 8, master bedroom area. They're going to push through there, try to clear any roamers. We can see we've got one man from Black Dragons just trying to hold down the Attic there, but the Ash Charge just go over that wall. However, Hugzord will get a kill onto Ness. Moringa will shut him down in return, though. Nice late trade there. So that leaves us 4 versus 4. But there is still a man from Black Dragons making this top floor control difficult. They need to clear him out so that they can start to take advantage of all that soft flooring that we can see beneath the feet. He's actually joined by Patoxy as well. We've got Hornetau and Patoxy. It looks like we've got Lagonish just dipping up there to get involved as well, just bringing that Toxic Babe utility. And that should tell you exactly how important Black Dragons recognise that this top floor control is.
So why are you bullying me as the multi-charge? Still though, 3 versus 3. I gotta give a bit of credit to Hugzord. He's had a couple of opening kills in this first half as one of the quieter players. I think we've called him out before at OGA. He was definitely one of the quieter players back there for Liquid as well. Sorry, not for Liquid. Black Dragon, sorry. When did we see them play last? I remember you talking about him previously and saying that when he was playing on he was on a shotgun player on Cafe, and we were like, man, he's really good late round, but really bad early round. It seems to be the exact flip over compared to what me and you have seen in the past.
It is, and I think what we've seen from the LATAM region is there's been a little bit of time without play. Obviously, we did OGA back in December, and then there was the 6 Invitational that we covered in February, and then since then, there's not been an awful lot of competitive siege for the Brazilian region. If you look through the fixtures for these teams coming in to try and get an idea of any sort of form, it was difficult really to say what was going to happen, because the last couple of months we haven't seen that much play from them, and I think it has led to some changes within the teams, to be honest, and it's something that I've commented on over the last couple of play days. PZD coming in with a great kill onto PSK. We find ourselves 1 versus 3 for the Monte. Surely a matter of time until Black Dragons bully him out of there. Lagonis will shut him down, and that is going to be 3-all on the half, and this one could not be poised any better heading into the second half of things. What a match we've got on our hands here. These are really just in a brawl at the minute.
Back and forth, back and forth. I teased earlier on the thought or the concept of a draw coming through here, making Liquid have more draws on their plate than they have wins or losses. That would be an incredible one to say about one of the best teams from the region. But at the half, things are all square. We need to see a super solid defense coming out of them in the second half. Otherwise, it does come down to it. And you know what? It's not the end of the world if it is a draw. They can still go on and walk away with 2 points if they can win at the next map. But bearing in mind, this was their map pick. This is the one, if you're Liquid, where you should be feeling most confident, especially on the defense with it being a newer map. You're the one who gets to innovate and leave the other team guessing and reeling a little bit from the new things that you have to deliver. So let's see how things shape up. They're going to start out on the downstairs. We'll see if BD try and go for a similar push where it's going through construction and through tower, or if they put more focus in towards laundry and in towards freezer.
It's the little bit of differences that I really love when you really start deep diving into a new region. I can't remember which team it is that has done it, but somebody has played down here twice, and they've brought a Tachanka twice. They've got and it's not even a meme pick, Des. They've got a genuine play where where Nesk is now, basically, they just put a Tachanka turret in there, just facing that double door at an angle. And I tell you what, right now, I've not seen an attack that is happy dealing with it. It's only ever been used in the first defensive round, and then after that, they just move it away so that utility can't necessarily specifically be brought to deal with it because they're not expecting it. And it's been really successful. And I just love those things when you come into different regions and you just see those little changes that are done differently. You know, the little different line of thinking about how can we deal with that problem.
Yeah, 1人上がってんのかな、そこ。冷蔵会らへんに1人いて、4人で下現地守ってって感じかな。
We're into big tower then. Kind of the starting point for any good attack on the downstairs. You do want some form of presence up towards the north, at least initially. Normally what you'll see is 4 players start on this side of things, work on getting the attic wall open, and then rotate at least 2 away and try and get them in towards armory or inside a master. Normally you'd see something in Europe at the very least, something like a Habana coming through to help you open up the master wall in from through trophy in towards pig or attic, and that way at least help apply some kind of split pressure coming through. But there's always a massive focus from both teams so far on getting this hatch open. As you can see, Hugs are currently working diligently on this Maverick to do. As you mentioned earlier on, although there is limited vertical play on this site, the hatches do provide a lot of opportunity to cut off the rotate, make it so that there is an ability to protect the default plant spot when you opt to go for it as well. Got a little bit more work to do here. There we go. Now that is open, we can get this party started. No Monty to bully them though, so for Liquid it's going to have to come down to a bit of a blitz of finding kills before Black Dragons find it in reverse. We touched earlier on that Hugsword has been one of the big opening fraggers in the game so far. Liquid need to find their own hero on the defense.
That's just holding a very tight pixel there. He's just going to keep hold of that for as long as possible and hopefully shut down anybody from Black Dragons trying to move into that bunker area. And you can see he's just adjusting himself, but he's confident that somebody's going to come that way. And he just puts a little tap shot out there to see if he can just back them up a little bit. He knows now that there is pressure being applied. His shield is going to be removed, and we just see Nesk have to dip away. But I think actually ADS might have just caught that Ash charge because it looks like the shield has remained in position with Nesk diving away. It just made me wonder whether he had that utility or not. As you can see, how about that? For the nick of time, the reinforcement just being thrown up behind him as he's rotated back into sight. That's actually his job done. He's wasted almost 2 minutes in that location where they have not had control of bunker. And then he's got back in and secured sight. So great play from Nesk.
Open kill coming out of Pala onto Hornetto here as the push is starting to come in on this northern side. They managed to keep them at bay ever so slightly, but there is still a lot of work to do, I feel, on the setup coming through for the attackers, and it's Hugsword trying to get some kind of vision, some kind of clarity into what is happening on site right now. He's going to jump his way through, runs right into the alibi. How did they not know? It's like moving around the roses. He's trying to find one. Looks like Hugsword does get one for himself. It's a second, it's into a 3 versus 3, but with only 5 seconds on the clock, there is still so much left to do. Black Dragons coming down to nothing. A C4 comes out, a sexy cape. With one left there, sadly, there's not much hope of being able to get that diffuser down. Really smart setup coming out of Liquid there. Almost setting up a bit of an obstacle course inside a blue bunker with the shields, the AESs. So Hugsword really trying to do it, having his work cut out for him there to get down the L, try and contest onto the Jaeger as he pulled back into sight. But sadly, that door was slammed closed right in front of his face and had no way of being able to pick things up. And that was, again, just a really nice delay tactic coming out of the defenders.
Really well played from Liquid. Absolutely love that. We saw a great view of what Nesk was doing, and you know his inaction essentially on the round. He just absolutely kept them locked down there. I think we maybe need to see quicker adaptation out of Black Dragons. They were just a little bit long in going in and dealing with that situation, or recognizing that it was too difficult to deal with. It was wasting too much time. Let's push freezer. Let's push laundry stairs. Let's just try and change this up. Didn't do any of that. Just kept banging the drum for that pillar side of the site, and ultimately Liquid just had that on full lockdown, and it was
スモークのタイミングね、めちゃくちゃ完璧だった。あれはやっぱってことは、ああいう風に 前目で1枚戦ってプラントはスモークタクニョンみたいな感じで言ってる。まあ当たり前か。当たり前っちゃ当たり前だけど。今のここのミュートが、ミュートなんかここ置いたり、ここ置いたりな。結構、あ、そういうところを組んだみたいな。ミュートがちょいちょいある気がするよね。
I've seen when I've been taking the stats down, a lot of the rounds running in towards the 2-minute 55, 3-minute mark, going the whole distance, and then teams coming away with a loss because they are running short of time.
One thing I'll give to both sides is actually there hasn't been any kind of mad rush rounds that have ended inside 60 or 90 seconds. It has consistently come down to that dying 10 seconds of a round before the execute comes through, the kills start flying, so on and so forth. Sure, there's a bit of trading here and there, but for the most part, it has been a long and well drawn out round. Both sides setting up problems for the other side to try and fix. The attackers being held at bay on multiple occasions. It's good work coming out of both teams when they were on the defensive side, but as Liquid currently sat at 4 and 3, they are the ones in commanding control for now. I believe we are on the upstairs site. Indeed, we are. Keen to see what their setup comes through here, because some teams don't even bother looking towards Attic. Attackers can just ignore it if they choose. And that actually looks to be the focus coming out of them here. A lot of their focus, as you can now see, is on the upstairs coming down from the southeast side. So they want control of Master, they want Trophy, they want Armory. But right now, couldn't give a hoot about what's going on inside of Attic.
Nope, no interest there whatsoever. As I've said, we do tend to see multi-directional push onto this site. We haven't seen too many where it's just one-dimensional like this, just Armory Master Closet, push from there in numbers and try and brute force your way through. Nesk will he'll respond to that brute force threat from Hornetau by shutting him down with a headshot, and that's another powerful start from Nesk. Sexy kick hits a beautiful nitro onto PZD as well, and now these 5 versus 3. And Liquid, they are showing as a complete second side.
この間もミスってた気がする。
We saw them struggle on the defense last time around against NIP. NIP absolutely demolished them, but they've gone and learnt their lessons, and they are coming back in absolute force here on Oregon.
This probably haven't got any attic pressure as you give it for the defenders to play in so freely and comfortably, and although they've got a nice angle here through the walking wardrobe to see up to what's going on inside a pig or top or whatever you want to call it, it's still not quite enough for them. They need that wall open, they need to be able to go and plant, but you can't do that comfortably if the game's control is not entirely in your favour. And Attic is going to be working against them. It's obviously going to give him a good old British shank in the face there as well to bring down Sexy Kate. That puts us into a 4 versus 3 on the side of Liquid. With 35 seconds still to go, you can kind of feel the wind being taken out of the sails of Black Dragons here as they need to get this pace back up. That's the kind of pace they want though. Lagona's bringing down Nesk, puts it into a 3 versus 3. Only 25 seconds left on the clock though, Tim.
The clock is the big problem once again for Black Dragons. As you say, they've got themselves a good couple of potential impact kills there, taking Sexy Cake and Nesk off the board, but there are still 3 Liquid players left. They are entrenched in sight, and they are just ready to play these angles. Palo, one of them dips out, gets Patox with a double toxic bait, followed up by the shotgun. Great plays on site from Liquid once again, and like you said, just burning the clock so well. 20 seconds before Black Dragons are making any meaningful push for real site control or possession there, and there are still 3 Liquid players left alive who are more than capable of shutting you down, and that is exactly what they do.
Round 9.
It's a little bit one-dimensional on the attack there coming out of Black Dragons. I think ignoring Attic came back to cost them massively. If you want to ignore Attic, you need someone to be pushing up white stairs. Reason being, it doesn't let the defenders sit back as comfortably. They can't play inside the game room. They can't play inside the doorway leading into Trophy from dorms. You can at least somewhat contest what's going on inside of Attic by not giving them as much freedom to move around. If you're only coming from one direction, there are 2 spots the defenders have got to watch. The doorway going into dorms and game room. That is it. Nothing else to be concerned about, and you can see at the very bitter end there, Moringa rotating in between kids, Pig with the shotgun in hand, the smoke waves coming out, and just gassing out anyone that was trying to push in from Trophy. So really smart defense coming out of Liquid, but admittedly not stretched by Black Dragons the way that maybe we would have liked to see.
Dragons yet to get themselves an attacking round on the board, and as you say, Des, and I think you're absolutely hitting the nail on the head, Black Dragons need to diversify. They need to be coming in at multiple angles. They need to be making their attacks more multifaceted, because pushing in from one direction as they are, we saw it on Laundry, straight in from Bunker, got held up, no real plan B. Exactly the same there. In from Armory Master side, nothing on Attic, got held up, no plan B. The question is,
ブラックドラゴ
and a little bit of a prediction from me, Des, they're going to try and take over Big Tower and come in from rear stage and nothing else. And if that's the case, I think Liquid shut them down again here and get themselves onto match point.
2人上がってる
That's why I quite like
違
this
う
site,
ね
to be
1
fair,
人
is
だ
the
け
fact
だ
that
ね
it does give you these long-range gun sights, because playing on the sites itself, as you said, you do have to go for the long range. You can't really play inside the room itself. There aren't really any concrete places you can hold, unless you're going to play right up against the stage and try and contest someone as they push in against you. Problem is, the attackers have got a couple of angles they can come from. If they get control of Attic, you are simply not allowed to play inside meeting unless you
子
fancy
供の
going
おまま
free.
とかいけない
It's
同
not
じ
a thing.
か
They
相
get
手
stage
も
wall open, you can't play on
さっ
stage.
きの
They
リキッ
take
ドと
control
同
of
じ
Green
感じだ
Hallway.
ね
You still can't play behind the stage because there's going to be someone sat on that doorway watching you from that angle. So it's very, very easy for the attackers to assume control. But in my mind, the meeting room, it's like no man's land. No one can play in there comfortably without being sprayed down at by long range by the defenders or being picked off by the attackers from the nooks and crannies they
上
can
ミ
open
ュー
up.
トと
So it's a
家
really
側か
interesting sight to observe, and very rarely we ever see the
23
team ignore meeting itself and put that kind of focus into kitchen, because meeting is just one of those. If the
上
plant
多
goes
分今
down,
の車
chances
線
of
で
winning
会議の入
basically
りが
zero.
大窓が見える
Exactly, and that is what we have seen so far over the last few play days.
で上
Successful
開け
plans
て
do generally mean wins here. You know, playing into exactly what you're saying, Des. We've got 2 ACOGs on the side of Liquid, and they are just looking for those long-range battles. They're looking for any opportunity. Black Dragons are making good progress so far. They've got that rear stage wall open. A minute 30 still
セク
left
シー
on
ケ
the
ーキの
clock.
いる場
They've
所が
got green
めっちゃえぐ
corridor
い気がする
control. They're going to look to aggress in now, and I would suggest PSK's life might not be too long for the living if he tries to continue
1 2 3 4
contesting there
5
from
人
the
でしょ
stage. But he is holding them back. I think it might actually have been Sexy Cake on the
5
rook.
人
He
で
is just holding
上
them back
まだあ
at
る
this
のかな
point, and they need to deal with that quickly. We can see the
めっちゃ
global
あるじゃん
utility going in.
なんで
Sexy
エコに
Cake
使わ
on
な
his
いの
belly
ね
just running
え
way back along
で
the
もここで
stage.
まず戦
Can't
うから
behind
あ
the
なんか
cockpit.
エラの
Shots onto
あの
the
銃
window.
みたいな
He
感
will
じの
get
偽
away
ス
with
コー
his
ピオンみたい
life.
なの
Drop
で降
down.
りて
That is great play from Sexy Cake. 2
リテイク
minutes
狙う
wasted
の
there.
あでもジャ
We've
ブが多
still
分
got a
置いて
man
あるよ
in
ね下
meeting.
は
Black Dragons, you need more control. Get
どう
yourself
するん
into
だろう
Attic, please.
入ってて
Well,
いや
PSK can't be
強い
losing that kind of fight
い
off
や
that
間に合わな
close
か
as
ったか
well. You're bringing the
でも落ち
ACOGs
ちゃ
to
っ
go
て
for
でも
these
どうするん
long
だろ
range
うこの
fights and
後
try and
止
play
め
them up
る
very
あれ
close.
が
And yes, they are thick, chunky boys.
あそっち
They've
から
got
上
a
が
lot of
っ
armor
て
and you have the Sims coming out of the dock. But sadly, you
モ
can't
ブはあ
take
る
your
け
way
ど
through
いや
the shots
強い上
ever.
かな
It's
あ
going to
れ
be a kill coming back onto Patoxi as Hornetto tries to
や
go
っ
for
て
the
落ち
plant
て
side, expects at the back
落とし
stage.
て落として
Would appear
セ
to
クシ
be
ー
the
ケーキ
case.
か
Now that's down. This is going to be a
あーやっぱ
very
プラントいっちゃ
difficult
ったか
retake scenario for the defenders,
本当
as this one is not a comfortable
や
retake
っぱ
to
こ
go
こ
for.
後ろが
Not comfortable at all.
レン
First
ツされ
thing
て
that
ないからだい
Liquid
ぶ
need
さ
to
い
be
な
doing
ね
is
なん
getting
か
themselves
ど
a couple
か
of
し
kills
て
here. 3 versus
っ
3,
て
and
だけだ
they've
った
got
ねなんか
ACOGs
がっつり
lined
取る
up
の
from
かなって思
3
ったら
different
そんなかった
directions.
感
We
じ
can see Hornetai will get himself one
い
directly
い
on top of the
巻き
diffuser
返してい
before
く
being shut
いや
down
ー
by Moringa. Hugsword will take Nesk out, and that leaves us now 2
やっぱあれだね
versus
そ
1.
この
Moringa
教
has
団
got
の
to go big here. He
後ろ
knows that he's
が
got one at the
強
door
強
and
だ
one
ね
on the stairs. Can he get the first? He
2
moves around with the
3
shotgun, but no!
やっぱあれだねさっきの5 4もそうだけどセクシーケーキが
will shut
いろ
down
いろ
Moringa, and that is
動
going
い
to
て
be
動
the
いてっ
first
て感じ
successful attacking round for Black Dragons. I'm a little bit worried
Oh,
for
no.
them still, Des. It was one-dimensional, but they did everything that they needed to. They won the fight against PSK, which I think was a pivotal moment. If PSK gets that kill, and it's 5 versus 4, and it's another 15, 20 seconds wasted until they can clear him out, then I think it might have been a bit of a problem for them. But they got that stroke of luck that you always need in Siege. They came out on top of that gunfight and managed to get the diffuser down. So not terrible from them, but I think there is still better work that they can do there.
Absolute smash and grab coming out there is the only way I can describe it. It started out a little bit sketchy because of the rook and the dock playing so close, but once they were removed or at least unsettled, nice and easy to get on stage behind relatively safe cover without fear of being shot apart by an ACOG. And then it all comes down to that magical retake. Black Dragons at least giving themselves something. But the one thing I think we've got to be slightly mindful of is it was 3-3 at the half. We need to see a similar half coming out here for Black Dragons. They need to find themselves a couple more rounds here to bring things up to that draw point. Otherwise, for Liquid, a couple more rounds for them, this map is done and dusted. We are back on the downstairs, and let's not forget how it played out last time round. Liquid say generally an overwhelming control in the first half, set for that last round. They've shown proficiency downstairs. They've shown proficiency
あそこで
upstairs.
あの体の
Excellent
でかさ
to
で
go
さ
to the next level.
耐えれてる
If
っ
they
ていう
can
のが
repeat
すご
that
いよ
here
ね
2
キャラ
rounds in
コ
a row
ン
as
トロール
mentioned, this map is theirs. It's done
えぐい
for, and
わ
it's on to Consulate, which is the map pick of Black Dragons. So I'm excited, Tim. I want to know if they can do it. I want to know what they're going to change here to keep Black
あ
Dragons
相手
guessing.
も
But
モンティ
equally,
を
the
入れ
onus
て
is
き
on
た
the
ね
attackers here. It wasn't Liquid that
で
made
もオレゴン
mistakes
ってやっ
last
ぱあ
time
れな
round
のか
because
な
they
行き
won.
詰まると行
It's
き詰まる
entirely
っていう
on
かな
down
ん
to
か
Black Dragons to
詰まる
fix
ともう
things.
編
So
成
Liquid
的
could
に
very
あ
well
ん
just
ま
do
り
the same
変わん
thing
なく
again
な
and
る
say,
の
you
かな
know what,
そうい
you
う
didn't solve the problem last time round. let's see how good your problem solving skills are a second time around.
スレッ
It is, you know, we start on
グ
an
レ持ち
absolute
が
knife
他
edge
のや
here.
つと
We've
かに
got Black Dragons keeping it tight.
他のグレ
Although
持ちと
Liquid,
かで
I
も
would
いい気が
suggest, have
しな
certainly
い
been the
で
more
もない
dominant team over the last 3 rounds, particularly.
って
Black
言う
Dragons
て
doing
言え
well
る
in
グレ
round
持
number
ちがな
9
い
and
って
picking
感
that
じな
one
の
up
か
to get themselves back within touching distance. But there, as you say, there is a lot of work for them to do yet. And I think the work we need to see is we need to see them just adding elements to their attacks. They need to be mixing things up here, particularly coming into Laundry. They can't just get themselves stuck into that battle for bunker and pillars. They need to try and apply a little bit of pressure, whether it be to Freezer or whether it be to Laundry. They just need to try and stretch Liquid a little bit more
ま
here,
た
because
あれなのか
Liquid
な、アリ
were
バイ
allowed
で
to play far
暴れ
too
てくれて
comfortably
さっきのラ
back
ウ
in
ン
round
ド
number
と
7 on this side.
同
They
じ
just
感じなの
sat
かな。
back and waited for Black Dragons to do everything that they wanted them to do. And as they did it, they just fell back a stage each time, sealed things up behind them, and just kept themselves alive until there was too little time left on the clock. So Black Dragons, they need to mix things up a little bit. But Liquid are playing this in largely the same way as they did last time, and Black Dragons can definitely learn
あ、でも
from
あれ
that.
か、ジャブが入れてないのか。
You know, we totally missed a
Jabu が
wonderful
縦になって
circular narrative here, Tim. When we had Sexy Kate playing nice and close to
縦
the
裏ど
stage,
かして両チ
playing
ーム
like
の
a
編
snake,
成がね、
some might say, slithering back
あ
and
んま
forth
り
beyond the stage. That was a great chance to call him the sexy snake, not just sexy Kate. I have
変
no
わら
idea
ん
what a
っ
sexy
て
snake
感
would
じ
look。like, by the way.
I don't think we need to see Des, to be honest.
縦
I
裏
don't think anyone
I'm not
needs to
gonna
go
lie,
Googling
yeah.
sexy
Yeah.
snake, okay?
Don't Google it, because it's going to be trouble. That's all I'm going to tell
Dear
you.
あ、モンティ
Christ.
が
Oh, that image
あれ
is
な
going
ん
to
だ。
scar me for a while.
階段。
Okay.
I mean, you said it. You've come in hot. You've come into Latam, and you are just really, you're elevating
Look,
this, Des.
After hearing you boys talking
でもあ
about
れでも
that
さっ
pet
きの
snake stuff
アリバイ
yesterday,
の
it's
ア
just
リバイ
ingrained in
た
my memory. And then you tell me
経験を
you
生かして
forget the word
どうする
baguette
のかって
for
感
one
じ
to
だね。
compare what a
It was a rough
what a bakery
conversation, that,
steak
Des.
would look like. I don't know where on earth you
バン
get
カー
to
の
this
とこ
crumble
2人
thing
で
apparently.
どうするんでしょうか。
Anyway, 40 seconds left already. This round has
ブラッ
gone at
クド
a
ラゴンズ。
pace.
いや
And as I said,
強
the first kill will finally come out. It's PCD bringing down Nest 2 kills by
シ
the
フォ
way
ン
of
す
Black
る。
Dragons, and they are saying, you know what, Liquid, we fancy that
あ、
idea of a
強
draw.
い、
We
倒して
fancy giving
る。
Jenna
家
a
が
heart attack
ス
here
モーク
by
がそこに
forcing
い
it
て、
down to the
あ、でも
very
もう
last
入られちゃ
round.
ってる
We're
わ。
going to see one going down though. It's Patoxy
フラン
put
テ
down
ィ
on
が
his backside. Pala's going to trade, well,
お、でも
finish
ファ
him
ル
off,
が
I should
し
say.
っかり返してる
2
けど
versus
入られ
4
ちゃ
with
ってるけ
20
どどう
seconds
す
to
るん
go,
だ。
and Monty is in the
スモ
site.
ーク
He
も
has
たかれちゃった。
control here.
いや
But now Pala's going to find Lagonis.
え
That
ぐ
is massive for
マ
them.
ジか。
Because that's
やっ
the
ぱそこ
diffuser.
木叩か
The
れ
smoke
たって
going
か
off everywhere.
自
It's
分らで
absolute
も焚いて
chaos
るし
inside of the supply room right
こ
here.
っちの
It's a
叩か
2
れたっ
versus 2.
ていう
They've
のが
almost brought it all the
で
way back
スモー
here,
クが
Ace.
前出て
No
る
way does he
あ
get
あ
a
れだね
second
も
one.
う感
They've
激
managed to
攻
swing it.
撃
It's all
と
down
防
to
衛が
PCD.
逆
They're playing
一に
big
なっ
round
て
roses. He won't find the
い
kill.
や
Liquid pull off a 2 versus
いや
4
強い
in
ね
a
やっぱあれ
momentous
かス
round
モークを
and
起点
force
に
them
し
up
てっ
to
て感じな
match
のかな
point.
守り
Incredible
方は
scenes.
That is the round for Black Dragons that you look
そ
back
う
on and you think, you know what, that's where we lost it. As you
ス
said, that
モー
was
ク
their
起点に
opportunity to really push forward there and
立
to
て
just
直す
try and
ゲ
get
ーム
that
メイ
draw,
ク
trying to
し
get
直す
themselves in a position to even
メイ
win
ク
it necessarily. But no,
し
they get themselves shut down. You can't
し直
lose a
す感じ
4v2 like that. They
11ラ
had
ウ
the
ンド
control that they needed, but Liquid, they just keep fighting
おい
and fighting. And what I love to see, Des,
マ
I've
ジか
commented on
ね
it over
マ
the
ジ
last
ね
replay
よ
days that we've
し
seen for Liquid, is
え
they've
ぐす
had
ぎ
a
る
slow start to this season by Liquid standards. They've not come out as strong as we might have expected. It was something that I asked Sexy Cake about yesterday, and he said we're happy, we're playing our game and we're doing well, and we are really seeing them grow into this season, and they are becoming more and more that dangerous creature that we know them to be, just coming in and washing teams away before them.
こともまあてかよく見たら
We know that they're
いい
currently
ね
contesting
ありがとうござい
the
ま
top
す
for Team
5
One,
人
right?
も
We
つ
know
けて
they're
もら
both
って
tied up at 6 points right now, and this is a momentous day. It's a day for them to be taking the 2-0 and putting themselves at the top and establishing themselves as the
また
best team
あ
in
れかな
LATAM
セク
once
シーケイ
again.
クだけ一人
You do have to ask though, we are a
で
third of the way
C4 で
through the
飛ば
season.
し
We
に
said
行
this
くよ
back
う
in
に
the
なのか
pre-show. They're on the
相手
way.
も編成持って戻して
There's
る
about
って
well, there is generally 2/3 left of the season. There's still plenty of opportunities, even for those teams in the bottom 2 or 3 spots right now,
お
to
湯を買っ
climb
て
back up and cause some
そうだね
upsets. And
そ
it's
こ
always
と
these
大
games that
カ
I
メに
look
置い
forward
て
to saying teams like
無
Furia at
輪
the
が
point of
縦が
7 and saying, you know
ウ
what?
ェンツの
Right
とこ
now,
ろらへ
sure,
んか
things
ら
are looking rough. But when it comes towards the end of the season and we're all duking it out to get those top few spots to get to LAN, it's the games from those teams that are lower down when they're coming up against the big boys that I worry about the most. Because sure, 2 big teams going going up against each other, you wouldn't put it down on paper as a guaranteed result for
今
either
のイ
side.
ン
The
パク
ones
ト
where
用
they're
が
against
な
a
くな
weaker team, maybe.
イ
But
ン
as
パク
soon
ト
as
持っ
someone
てる
gets a
人
win
が
that you don't come to expect,
いる
that's when things get
かな
really,
わかんない
really
な。
shaky. And here I'd argue Liquid at the very least are looking pretty solid coming up. ironically called Team Liquid and actually more solid. Coming up against a team here where I'd say they're actually doing well against a middle table team. But when it comes around to a team like Furia, for example, or WM7, as I alluded to a second ago, those are the games they really can't start affording to drop. So in my mind, picking the wins up here this early in the season.
でまたあれなのかな、タワー取んないっぽい。
Black Dragon's got to be more careful with those drones there. We all saw the mute jammer on the far side of Armory door. We all know exactly where it's going to be placed. That's a second drone now run into a mute jammer. They can't keep giving up that level of information like that and just handing it over to the success of those mute gadgets. Have that information being fed back into them. Liquid won this site extremely well last time around. We're seeing a very similar push coming in from Black Dragons. It is one-sided. It is coming in from Armory and Master. They need to try and mix this up. It was not really that close last time. They struggled. They had low time. They were still pushing into 3 even after they got themselves a couple of kills. I'm a little bit worried for Black Dragons here. I think this could be the end of the day for them on Oregon, and then they're going to be going into Consulate. Their map pick 1 down against a Team Liquid side that have really got themselves running pretty well here on map number 1.
Ooh, I wonder how much the motivation's shaken after that last round. That comeback coming out of Liquid. What does it do to a team, do you think? How demoralized do you think you can feel? Or do you reckon there's the composure in place to say, you know what, guys, it's 1 round, these things happen, we can fix it going into future rounds? How much do you think?
ミュートのせいであれなのかな、
morality, that's not really what
時間
I'm
が
after, is
かかってる。
It's more morals. How does
1、2、3、
morale
4。あ、これはあれかな、割って、
morality for that kind of situation.
Yeah, I
手前
really
で
don't
設
think
置するっ
morality
てこ
comes
と
into
は。
it, but
No, not at all.
team morale
あ、でも
definitely
セクシ
could
ーケー
take
キ
a
動い
big
てない
hit
し
from
さ。
that. You know, when you go in, if that had
ま
been
だか、まだ動いてない。
3-4
階段の下にいて。
and you go in 3-5, then yeah, I think you can write that one off and you can say, look, come on guys, we need to focus here because we can't be losing 4v2s. But when you're giving up that match point
窓は見て
opportunity,
る。あ、
Liquid
そっ
now
ちの
have
窓に
2 fights at the
回
cherry.
ってる。
I think that is
いやー、飛び
Here
出す
comes a huge jump out for
つ
power on the
強すぎる。
shotgun.
タイミング、これあれなのかな、 あそこ入って、プラントって行きたかったけど、でも走り込めはしたけど、どうする？いいよ、ミッドかな、どっか落としてる。C4 だ。セクシーケーキ。あー、すごいな、プラント止めか。で、ハルが今度裏行ってんだ。メスクは連通前、逆ポジ、逆のあそこだよね。いやー、強っ。They don't mind that it's gone down, and they will win out on the day. Great plays from Liquid. Good entertainment coming in from the boys of Black Dragon, but they just weren't able to finish things off.
A really enjoyable fixture, and thinking about it as well, this again was Liquid's map choice. You would expect them on the defensive side to come out stronger, to come out better than Black Dragons did. And although we can see the 1 round from Black Dragons that argued quite well, I think that previous round where it looked won and then wasn't won, unfortunately, really set the tone for how the next one was going to go. Not at all. How does morale carry across? What a word! Morality for that kind of situation.
建前一人。
Really don't think morality comes into it, but
ロケアの余裕ないね。ね、下があれ一人キッチン階とかの方に行ってればワンチャンあったかもしれないけど。
3-4 and you go in 3-5, then yeah, I think you can write that one off.
あ、そっか、このタイミングでミュートが使うからもう C4 がセクシーのケイクのあれか、あれか、PSK1 のやつしかない。いや、違うね、ミュート降りて倒して、あ、でももう C4 使ってるね。あれ倒して、決まってね、ここはどこだ、レンツ、子供、逆ポジ一人ミュート、家側かな。で、セクシーか。プラントは入れさせるんで決まってね。下一人、1、2、3、2、2、あと一人がわかんないな。ムリンガを倒してる。レンツかな？違うな。わかんない。ムリンガ。ここの大窓があれだな、もう少し。1、2、3、4、5か。
Shotgun, absolutely ripping Hugzord off his rappel. That's how you deal with a kid's window rappel. Take a bow.
ムリンガ。
But Wanatau has managed to get himself into sight.
ムリンガどこなんだ？死体がこれかな？ でも多分さっきここら
Get a
辺にいた
kill.
気
The
がするか
diffuser
ら。
was going down, but Sexy Cake once again. That's his third nitro kill in 2 days. He really is showing us some ability with that gadget. Hornetau, however, grabs that diffuser. He's a fraction of a second. He
いやー
gets
強
it
いな。
down.
そこにいたのか。
Liquid come in. They've got all the kills. They're happy on the retake. They don't mind that it's gone down. And they will win out on the day. Great plays from Liquid. Good entertainment coming in from the boys of Black Dragon, but they just weren't able to finish things off.
A really enjoyable fixture, and thinking about it as well, this again was Liquid's map choice. You would expect them on the defensive side to come out stronger, to come out better than Black Dragons did. And although we did see the one round from Black Dragons that I'd argue went quite well, I think that previous round where it looked won and then wasn't won, unfortunately, really set the tone for how the next one was going to go. Admittedly, jumping out into someone throwing a grenade at you, you've got to have abs of steel to catch that one and not feel too damaged by it. Incredible to see the aggression coming out in the final round. It's these unexpected changes that we've mentioned previously that can really change how things play out. Wonderful from Liquid. Will Consulate be the same story, though?
Just don't corner power. I think that's the lesson that we've learnt there. You get the nade out, you're trying to shut him down, and he'll just jump headfirst out of the window at you and take you out with his shotgun. Great plays from him. Liquid looking very solid on Oregon, to be honest. That's the best performance out of the two that we've seen. We saw them play against NIP on there, and they struggled a little bit. You know, they were against a very good NIP side. You touched on it during the match. Couple of early picks, so they knew prevent the smoke that he hands clash will follow up, so we're going to have a bit of an embargo on shields this time around, Jackie.
We've definitely seen a fair amount of Monty tonight. He's had a pivotal role to play, and he's certainly been annoying in a couple of instances. We saw him getting his opportune moments to come out and show up back on Clubhouse, of course. So let's see how this will affect the course of the game then. We do have the band sorted out. We are ready to get underway with this one. Thank you all for waiting around as we will be getting into the first map of the madness. This is where it begins, Tim, as we go in with MIBR versus Liquid. A best of two, hugely important on either side, really. There's an opportunity here for Liquid to lock it down, get a big amount of points to add to the tally they've already racked up and keep themselves in the upper echelons of the standings. For MIBR, they're coming in off a little bit of a strength that they had before when we saw them play previously. This is an opportunity now for you to actually start having a good season, but can they do it, Tim? That's the big question mark.
They've just come up against Liquid, it feels like, at the wrong time for them. They've got that opportunity where NIP have struggled to get a result tonight against a team that, let's be honest, they probably should have done. You know, if they want to be making that big shout towards the top four for the online major, they need to be picking up the results against the W7M, Santos Fury. They need to do that because the teams around them more than likely will. MIBR have got a big opportunity. They could well catch up a lot of ground on NIP here, but they've got Team Liquid standing in the way, and I'm sure they'll be happy to take the fight. Don't get me wrong, they won't be scared of Team Liquid, but a little bit, if they're honest, I'm sure they've been happier with maybe a different team to be playing here when this opportunity presented itself.
同じっぽい。いやでも選択のコピーのところ今置いてなかったね。
Ready to go, ready to get underway. We're out of the prep phase and we are straight into where the plays will start to come through. But are we going to see a team being left in disarray? Is it going to be commotion that's caused straight off the bat? MIBR,
あれだね、
unlike
初
in
め
the
て
signs
ス
that
モ
are
ールタワ
already
ーから
coming out,
押し
they
てる。
tend to get aggressive. As an opening round on their attack, they normally love bursting in and really bringing the ruckus. They like to charge through and give it to you raw, Tim. No trivia.
2個、
Right now
3
we
個
are
だか
seeing
ら。
a steadier pace from them, 30 seconds in.
あれなのかな、その敵の情報みたいなの分かってて、ロビー側に置いてるのかな、
the freezer door just to prevent those late round flanks being a potential. Moving through as well on the Iana decoy drone there, just droning out ahead, trying to get control of the rear stage area. So that would suggest to me we're going to have some attention to the bunker potentially at some point. We can see that that's tied down quite tight. We've seen Nesk doing this so far on the Jaeger very well. Usually has himself a deployable shield. We even saw him scarper back through that breach and rotate and reinforce behind himself previously, Jackie.
Oh, mate. There's been some madness. There's been all sorts of shenanigans that have been coming out previously.
あ、じゃあ、完全に
Let's
サ
see
ー
if
バー
it's
の
going to be
方
the
が
same
ちゃ
type
と
of
出てまし
situation
た。
today.
会議は空い
Already
てる
MIBR
空いてない
pushing up.
マーベイ
Sophia
が、
being put to good
あ、
use,
サッ
of
チャーがい
course,
るのか。
detonating and disrupting as they do begin to open up some of these
あ、
walls,
リキッド
giving
サッ
themselves
チャーバ
those
ーンしないん
rotation
だ。
points to push their way
ビーモ
across.
ンとか、
And they're taking out the hatches as well.
分け
Thermite
て、
being put to use.
もう割
You
薬
see
が
Souls just willing to absorb a little bit of
二人しか
damage
いな
there
くな
to
っちゃっ
try and guarantee that those exothermic charges are successful. He's used both of them
た。
on
開け
matches,
るだけ開け
so
て、
that
やっぱ
just
裏に戻
shows
す
the
のかな。
level of
マーベ版
importance being
ね、
placed
いや、
on
マー
those
ベはね、
vertical
バンされ
angles
て
that
る
can be。
バ
gained
ン
by
は、モンタ
MIBR
カピ
here.
ミ
It
ラ
is
クラッ
time
シュ。
for them really
で
to
モンタ
start
とミラ
thinking
を、あ
about
れが、リキ
pushing
ッドが
down these
バンしてた。
staircases though. It looks like they're mostly mounting towards the rear stage, but there is still
あ
some
ー、これあれ
pressure
なのかな、
around
その、プ
that
ラントの
freezer
時に
hatch、
最後
potentially.
の
We
最
can
後で、
see that Nest gets
冷蔵
absolutely
降りるよ
shut down
いやー、
there
強っ。
inside the
もう、あれだ
bunker.
ね。
Souls will
ガジェッ
get
ト使い
the
切ってる
kill
から
onto him,
戦
but
闘行ってん
Nesk
のかな。
dominated that area much more
で、
successfully
今の自分
previously.
でバレ
Pala,
て、
however,
あー、でもやっ
steps
ぱ
up
り、
and
こ
gets
こ
the
の
kill
アリバイ
onto
の位
Souls
置が、
diffuser down. He knows
さ
there's
っ
a
きの
second. Can he get him? No shots are missed. And
BD 戦も
Cyber
そうだったけど、
will
い
be
や
able
ー、
to
強
shut
い。
him
サ
down.
イバ
That leaves us now
ー。
in
倒し
a
て、
3
そ
versus
こ、
3. Moringa moving in and getting himself a kill
挟めるん
onto
かーい
Bullet,
って
just
感じだ。
coming in on the
食べ
back
ちゃ
of
っ
the man
て、
there with the
二人で
shotgun.
も、
That's the
どうなの
nomad
こっ
off
から
the
また
forward.
スモ
30
ークを起
seconds
点
left to
に
go, and this
逆
one's
に
starting at a breakneck speed.
攻めるのかな。でも、
They've
ハ
gone
ッ
in
チ上
quick.
に一
They've
人
given
で
it to you furious. And
4、
right
3か
now,。it
ん
doesn't seem
3
like
人
MIBR are liking what they're receiving. It's left a horrible taste in their mouths
タワ
and
ーから降
slowed
りて
down
き
the
て、
rest of the round. With
だがディ
15
フィ持ち。
seconds,
あ、そう、
they're
ディフィ持
into
っ
a
て
3
た。
versus 3. They do have the diffuser, but they still need to be
タ
able to
ワ
cover
ー
that
側
ground
か
and
ら
actually get themselves
入るけど、ス
in
モークまだ2個
smoke.
ぐらいある。
Put to
あ、もう
good
ない
use
ん
as
だ。
well. As the
ないから
toxins
どうな
are
るん
in
だ
the
ろう。
air, you can't be breathing those in. They'll do
タ
some
ワ
damage to your
ーが
lungs eventually.
前
You'll
の
start to get the
強
diffuser
ポジで
down.
プラント
And
して
the
る
man's
奥ま
down
で
now.
入って。
At the worst possible
いや、
time,
あ、
Team
いいん
Liquid.
じゃ
A
え、
critical
C4 かなん
shot
かあ
to
った
find him. They knock him off the diffuser. You've got no more time for
ちょ
someone
っ
to
と
pick it
ちょ
up.
っとだけ浮かし
To get themselves in smoke. Put to good use as well.
て。
As the
C4、あー、
toxins are in the
PSK1 が
air,
持って
you
んのか
can't
な。
be breathing those in. They'll do some damage to your lungs.
で、
Eventually, they do start to
C4、
get the
でも
diffuser
そこ
down.
C4 投
The man's
げれん
down
の
now. At the worst possible time, Team
どう
Liquid.
やってや
A
ったんだろう。
critical shot to find him. They knock him off the
Win.
diffuser. You've got no more time for someone to pick it up and get it back down. So that's
逃げさ
it.
せる
That's
から
the way the first round goes. Brilliantly played. Decisive push
グ
out.
ラウンド
Denies the
2
opportunity for MIBR. They couldn't
だ
cover
け
him. They
あ、
couldn't stop it. And it's done.
スパッツ
Good
エチ
signs
さ
from
ん、いつ
both
も
teams
お
there.
世話にな
It
ってます。
was
あり
an
がとうございます。
enjoyable
初見
round to
ありがとうご
watch.
ざい
They've
ます。
certainly
奥
come
ポ
in
ね、
with the
奥ピー
intention
ポ
of
で、
winning that
奥まで
all
走り込
of
んで、あれ
their
どうやっ
night.
て
The
取ったんだ
clearance
ろ
of
う。
Nesk was
ガチで
great
わか
to
らん
see
し。
to begin with.
はい。
Fantastic play from Souls to shut
じゃあ
him
もう
down
一
there.
回、
Nesk
あ、2
really
回
just
かか
had
ったから
no involvement in
あ
that
る
round. And as
け
I say,
ど、
we've seen him very dominant in that position previously, but not today. It's obvious that MIBR have done the homework there and they knew
言う
that is exactly what and how Nesk would be playing in that location.
あれだ
And
ね、
they use
さ
that
っ
information
き
to the
の
full. By contrast, Team Liquid, they
BD
were
戦
not
とは
rocked
違うの
by
は、ワ
that.
マイ
They
を
just
絶
kept
対入れて
themselves
きてるんです
locked in.
よ。ワマイ
Diffuser
で、
going down, it did
なんだ
not
っけ、
matter. They were able to get the down onto the
あい
Zephyr,
つ
and that
が
was all
エ
they
レクトロ
needed
クロ
given
ーが
those
ワ
3
マイに
minutes
な
had
ってい
ticked
るみ
by.
たいね。
So we find ourselves
あ
moving
とは、
into
カ
round
イ
number
ドか。
2 then.
カイ
It's going to
ド
be
から
1-0 to Team
ワマイ
Liquid, but I am sure that there are
も
plenty
使っ
more
てる
twists
人
in
が
this tale yet.
違う
Oh yeah, this one's going to be a bit of a tongue
ある。
twister.
そうだね。
It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be simple. There's a lot of changes that will be
縦
coming
の
out
位置
here
は
throughout
変わん
the
ないの
course
か
of the
な。
game.
縦
Team Liquid,
が、
we know they're very
でも、あ、
strong.
1個増える
Especially
の
on their
か。
defense on a map like Oregon. We
増
do
えて、
expect
どこに置
quite
くん
a
だ
lot
ろ
of rounds to be built up as a buffer. But MIBR, they're
う。
certainly a
1、
side
そう
that
だ。
can
レンツ
prove to
そ
be
この
quite
子供の
sneaky. They
前、
pull out these
あともう
interesting
1個が
cheeky
わかんない
plays.
な。
They do things that other teams potentially don't. And sometimes
あ
on their attack, they
じゃ
do
あ
get the better of you, no matter how good your defense is. So keep an eye on them. Don't count them out. Definitely set your attention. attention to players like Souls. Bullet can have his moments. Cyber can pop off. M King as well. When he's on his defense, that's when you want to be.
あ、イングが入ってる。あれなのかな、そしたら。
30 seconds
最
in
後
then, and we can see that Team
大
Liquid
窓
have
から
pretty
入っ
much
てる
just
の
about
か
got
な。
themselves set
あ、
up.
で
They're
も
going to
セ
be
クシー
heading
が
back
早
into
めに
site
した
now.
入って
Quite
る。さっ
often
き
it's
と
not
違う。
unusual, again, any new reviewers might think, you know, we're
いや、
30 seconds into the action phase and they're still setting
下
themselves up
来いよ。
here. It's not too unusual.
C
Lots of
を。
gadgets, lots of reinforcements, lots of work need to be done on these
あ、
sites. And
縦
we
連
can
通に
see
2つ
here
置いてん
Power.
だ。
He's just going to be holding down the attic. We can hear there as the attic wall is
それ
opened
側
up
に
by
3
the
人。
thermite of souls, but out go those
サ
pancakes.
ッ
But
チャー2個使ってる。
dodgy throw there from Pala. He's just going to step
さっ
back
き
in
の
and
言
we'll
った
have
冷
another go
蔵
at that in a second. He will get that magnet over the
冷
top, and he's just
蔵
waiting really. He's
開
waiting for
通
those
から廊下に投げ
deployables to
た。
come in.
いや、
so
ミッ
that
ド側
he
廊
can
下側
just
にいた
deploy
は
the
ず。
magnets at a
カイ
later
ド。
point and catch more of them potentially. And out goes the air jab onto the shield there. That's just going to prevent a push up through Attic. And right now, it seems like MRBR, they've just dipped away from that Attic push a little bit.
Time ticking away. Down to 1 minute and 40. A lot left. They do need to start to set their focus towards their game plan. Thatcher being caught off guard as he repositions. But of course, still being able to dash that out to shut down the potential players into sight. Cameraman going in on the Ying as well, but close
パン
contact.
パンパンで。で、そうね、さっきやられたからそこを先に潰して、で、あ、ラペってるけど落ちてる。ディフューザーが落ちた。落ちちゃったよ。このラペって階段いて、
Still hunting for more, taking damage from the toxins, but not showing any signs of giving a damn. He wants to get involved in the round, and he's certainly shown that with the first 2 frags, leaving them with just 2 men alive, Cyber and M King.
だから、
and
あ、そこ
Sophia
最初から
as
行ってた
they
のか
begin
な
to reposition, looking to
で
try
やられ
and
たの
play
かな
around one another.
テルミ
Still, utility is left on the side of
どうする
Liquid.
んだろ
They've got those cans to play with. They can still chuck them out on the smoke and really put a spanner in the works, especially when he's getting tags out to him as he softens up the opposition. Pala comes through. That's enough to the total tally as this man is absolutely giving it. He's looking to deck them all. It seems like they want to give him the round as well. Intro in off the back of the bait cans, but he won't push with it. He's playing smart.
M King has just dipped away from that fight, as you say, dropped that Attic hatch, and he will try to move around and attack from a different angle. Honestly, all I think this is going to do is just delay things by a couple of seconds. And
いやー、ごめん、ちょっともう一回、さっきの入るところだけ
this is
出してください。
Left on the side of Liquid. Just 2 men alive. Contact their game plan. Thatcher being caught off guard as he repositions, but
多分そうだよね、テレミまで1個残ってて、で、イング木は焚いたのかな焚いてないね。焚かないで、キュープで、あ、下開いてるね、もうやっぱりな。なんか潰しに来るって分かったよ。そこそこ、このラペがいたのに、あれか。ラペがいてもって感じか。で、多分下からセクシーケイクでやってるはず。で、感じか。あ、で、今のラペに対しても、ラペがどっからやったの飛び出したのかなレンツバリケ。いや違う、今殺してたわ。ここで殺す。なるほどね、強すぎるわ。殺して、あ、そういうことか。ちょっともう一回だけミスして。0点。下はもう最初から空いてる。ここ倒す。イエーガーが殺してんな。イエーガーってことは、あれか、レンツらへんにいるのか。いや違う、ロテホか。逆のロテホから倒してんのか。あ、そうだね、ネスクがそこだから。逆に車線通して、ロテホから殺して、サイバーだから、それを、あ、ラペで殺して、あ、そっか、そこのラペが最初にいなかったのかな。このタイミングが。いや、でもいるっぽいね。いるっぽいけど、感じか。こうやって、の形としては、クッキングしてくる。あ、いってらっしゃい。形としては完璧だったんだけど、インが目たかなかったのがあれなのかな。
He wants to get involved in the round. He's certainly shown that with the first 2 frags, leaving them with just 2 men alive, Cyber and M King. Thatcher and Sophia, as they begin to reposition, looking to try and play around one another. Still, utility is left on the side of Liquid. They've got those cans to play with. They can still chuck them out on the smoke and really put a spanner in the works, especially when he's getting tags out to him as he softens up the opposition. Pala comes through. That's enough to the total tally as this man is absolutely giving it. He's looking to deck them all. It seems like they want to give him the round as well. Intro in off the back of the bait cans, but he won't push with it. He's playing smart.
M King has just dipped away from that fight, as you say, dropped that Attic hatch, and he will try to move around and attack from a different angle. Honestly, all I think this is going to do is just delay things by a couple of seconds, and as I say that, it's Power. Who else steps up with a 4K, I think it was, on the round? He wasn't interested in what was in front of him there. All he wanted was kills. Even when the Toxic Babe canister came out, Jackie, he just took himself a lungful and carried on going. Unstoppable in round number 2.
Big to see, and that's a huge result as well, because it shows that everyone's playing well right now coming into it. We've already started to see the signs of the knock-on effect, right? Team Liquid, they really can be compared to the five fingers on one hand. They work so well as a unit when they're on the ball. All of them seem to just be able to react off of one another. The trades are always there. The impact plays occur, and you could just see the synergy in motion. So 2 rounds picked up already on their defense. That's a nice way to kick it off on Oregon. You want to try and scavenge as many rounds as physically possible on your defense, ideally.
That's it. You want to squirrel those rounds away and just get yourself as much of an advantage as you can. And right now, Team Liquid are doing a great job at that. Looking towards Kitchen and Meeting, we've only seen them play there once, and they were unsuccessful in the defense of it. The diffuser went down, and they were unable to move in and get that disable. Now, I seem to recall this round. Was this the one where Doc just caught out in the middle of the meeting room? I'm not sure if it was or not. Ultimately, I remember that the diffuser went down on the stage. If you remember, they opened the stage wall and they were pushing in. And no, Doc was actually playing right in the center of your screen there, just over on the side, right there now, center of your screen, just behind that bomb, just trying to head glitch through onto the wall, and he just got himself shut down. We had Sexy Cake led in front of the stage, and he wriggled his way down the hatch ultimately to get himself out of trouble. But they just couldn't get onto site to retake it once that plant had gone down. So this time, I think Liquid, you know, what they need to do differently there to achieve a successful defense is to keep more control for longer. Don't give up that way stage area too soon or too early. Sorry, too soon or too easily. You know, don't let teams build that pressure and get that diffuser down.
Interesting rounds. We've had far too much Oregon for me to actually remember all the plays because they've been so spicy. They've all been so different compared to one another, and let's see if this will be a different round for MIBR. If they can actually come out and not only be made in Brazil, but also be made here in Oregon and get another round on the board. As right now, it's slow and steady. They're not really pushing in. Of course, we're only down to the 2-minute marks. They don't necessarily need to go for anything too audacious and bold because you'll be running into a fairly well-defending Team Liquid. Playing close angles, work. だからもうその教団の裏割れちゃうのがあって4人いて1人今あれかキッチン側にいたスモールタワーら辺にいたかもしれない4人タワーいてジャブもいるでしょうあでも今回はさすがに限界こっちじゃなくて土のうの裏から2人ともいやー抜かれてしまう人もいた
adapted, changed that up. He was playing deeper in meeting to try and assist PSK. PSK is in no man's land right now. He's going to find it very difficult to move out, and he's going to get himself challenged very, very soon. We have the Toxic Babe canister coming out from the ringer, just trying to slow things down. But with 1 minute 15 left on the clock, he's going to need about 7 of those canisters to do anything about that. There's going to be plenty of time for MIBR to get in here and make a challenge. Right now, PSK is an absolute linchpin of this defense, and if he gets killed out, they are in big trouble.
He will be spotted trying to deal with that drone that's really drive its way in. Escape out won't matter though. They might have got info, but they've also got a bullet put through where their thoughts get processed. As the peak comes out from Pala the Punisher, as he'll take down another man, dropping Cyber and leaving them susceptible to even more attacks.
はい、あ、ルートママ入ってきて倒して、あ、限界ポジやられた。で、だから刺そうとしてきても、そこはイエーガーが見てる気が。あ、そうだね。イエーガーとクロス組んで、で倒す。でもプラント行ってる。プラントは行ってないのか。で、スモークなくなって、おお、よくわかったね。C4 の。で、ディフューザー落ちたのが浮いてるのかな。だけど、あと2人になって、緑廊下に1人スモークがいるから、タイミング合わせて詰めるのかな。いやー、やられちゃった。どまい。で、ジャブがかかって、どうなる。いやーここやっぱ難しいな。やっぱここはあれだね、会議の裏が割られちゃう。割られて限界ポジが。
PSK for me was the linchpin in that defense, and once he went, I always had a feeling that that diffuser would be successful in going down. Pala did everything he could to hold that off for as long as possible, but it was always going to be a big ask from his location in the connector there. But interestingly, And it's hindsight being absolutely 2020 here. This is not a criticism. I want to say that bang up front. Moringa there chased in to try and do something about the diffuser on rear stage and lost his life with a second. Well, it ticked down to 0 seconds. It was in the very last fractions of seconds of the round there. And
限界、あ、じゃあ
think
こっちが
it's, again, easy for me
取
to
っ
say
て
this,
も、
but the
相
man
手が
had
取って
come
も、
off.
もう決まっちゃう。確か
They had all the cover they needed. It looked like it might. I thought we were done with riddles for the night. That's going to be my excuse, Jackie. I thought I'd run you dry on the riddle front and I was safe for another week. But you got me there. 1 for 1, 50-50. I can live with that tonight.
We also had a
I think I've had 2,
suggestion.
haven't I?
Yeah, no, you've had 2, right?
Yeah, 2 out of 3. I can live with that.
We had an answer come through from producer Simon. He went for teapot.
I mean, it doesn't have a neck.
2 arms. Well, here is my handle, here is my spout.
They have a spout.
Yeah. No, yeah, you don't get that
He
one,
feels
Simon.
robbed at the minute, and I'm not sure I can get on board with you with that one, Simon.
No, not at all. Stick to production.
We
Riddles
set
clearly not the day
a
job.
high bar here for riddles.
I am the quiz master. That's why I have a beard. See, here's the thing.
オペ
Ace,
レー
there's
タ
many
ー
different
は
types
変
of
わっ
wizards. I'm actually a
てなさ
wizard.
そうだね。
They're all quizzical. Let's get quizzical.
Oh, right. Let's put that to bed. We'll forget about
あ、
those
そっ
for
か。
now. We'll
そ
get
うだ
back
ね。
into
も
the game at
試合
hand.
では
Round
変わってない。
2 rounds picked up already for Team Liquid, of course, on
MIBR
their
は強いんですけど、
defense.
やっぱり一
MIBR,
発
they've
強いんです
won
ね。あ、確かに強いんです
round
ね。てか MIBR お世話だったんですね
come out.。
スパッツ
We're
フェ
now
チマ
back
スタ
in
ーさん。
ready to carry on to see how the rest of the story will unfold.
誰だっ
Don't
け
worry,
サイ
we kept
パ
our
ー
little bookmark
が
in the
いな
pages, so we're
く
not going to
な
have
っ
to
ちゃった
start
の
from the
が
beginning. We'll carry on from where we
びっくり
left off.
しました。
We certainly will, and it is 2-1
はい、
at this
バック
point
かな。
to give you a little
MIBR の
update
中。
on what we've seen so far. If anybody has just joined
超
us, we
有
had
名。
round 1 in Laundry, and that was a Team Liquid win. Round 2 in Dorms, also a Team Liquid win, and then MIBR have managed to just get themselves a toehold in the game by taking their first attacking round successfully in Kitchen and Meeting.
もう一回また、
Back down now
なんかね、
in
5
round
人
number
下こも
4
っ
to
てるから、
Laundry. So
会
this is
議
the
の、
side that
はい、サーバ
all
ーと会
started
議
off
開け
with Team
て、
Liquid taking the win.
で、テルミがバンカーの細道に走ってってって感
Means
じで。
this might actually give us a very nice little tasty round, potentially, as we go back into it. Round 4 could have an awful lot of excitement. Definitely could be some hype thrown into the mix. Of course, before we had that reset coming out, Pala had already been able to pick himself up a 4K. So we've seen some punishing rounds coming out of him, Tim. We're showing that there's certainly no cobwebs on the mouse map.
Absolutely not. I think he was up to like 6 or 7 frags so far in 3 rounds because he got, certainly, I think, like you say, he got a 4K in round 2. He got a couple then on Meeting and Kitchen as well, I
さっ
think.
き
So
の
he's
1ラウンド目
certainly
よりか
getting
は結
himself
構
up there in the ranks once again. Neska's been a little
MIBR
bit
の攻め
quiet
の
so
テン
far,
ポ
but
が
as I've
ゆっくり
commented
め
a
な
few
気が
times, you know, these players on
する。
Team Liquid, they're never on stop, they're only ever
け
on
ど今
pause,
度
and
は
it's surely just a
先に
matter
会
of
議終わ
time
っ
until
て
somebody
サ
like
ーバー
Neska
の
really
ハッ
pushes
チ終わるの
himself
か
to the forefront and starts getting those frags.
よく考えたら MIBR そうだ、カメラマンいるん
I'm
です
slowly
ね。
ticking
そう
away.
めっちゃ
Ooh,
まだフェイ
testing
ズ
the
なイメージ
waters
が。
there with the face check round the corner as we see the peak. It seems like Cyber was about to be introduced.
MIBR なんかジェミニを
and that is
サッ
not
カー
the
ずっと
sort of
対応して
family
て、
meeting you want to be a part of. He will bite your head off.
なかな
He's a
か
big boy and he likes
ピ
to
キッと
bark
から
as
した
he
ら
tries to
う
wait
ざ
for
そ
the
う。
oncoming assault. They're not actually going to
ハ
walk
ッ
their
チ
way
開いて
down
る
the
けど、
stairwell.
ス
They
モークの
send
カバーが
themselves
ついてる
back
から
up
で、
and get out of there,
冷
leaving
蔵に
Moringa
2人
to
いて、
hold strong towards the steps.
柱
He
裏
does still have 2 of those
と
cans
バ
in
ン
the back
カー
pocket as well
2人
on
か。
the utility belt if he needs to drop some gas to block off the entry.
That's exactly what he's going to do. He's obviously very aware that there are still men around for that potential freezer push. He just needs to be careful about pushing that angle too aggressively with the
こっから
shotgun.
さっ
We've
き
seen
と
that
同じ
done
だ
a
った
number
ら
of
バ
times,
ン
and
カー
the
の
range
細道
is
に
not
テル
favourable
ミ
even for
仕
the
事を終えた
SAS
テルミッ
shotgun.
トが走
Generally
っていく
speaking,
感じ
the
だった気
ARs
がする。
will win out on those fights, so he
どう
just
するん
needs
だ
to be
ろう。
careful about pushing too far around there. He seems to definitely have himself locked in at a range there, and that's good. He's just going to hold that down for now. We can see utility being cleared. Iana decoys just raining in there to try and
開けて、
gather
ああ、
any
間に合う。
information that they
閉め
can.
ていく。
Right now, Power
閉めて、
just
こ
very
こだ。
aware that there's a man
冷蔵
potentially
の
above
タイ
him
ミン
in
グ。
freezer hatch insecurity as well. And that was about half
う
a
わ、よく、
second there
うわ、聞こ
from
える。
taking the head off. I think it might have been Bullet.
どうするんだろうな。割り
Souls
役
pushing
も
in there now.
割っ
Taking
ちゃっ
some
てる
big
から、2
damage.
枚。
Moringa
あ、
will
洗
shut
濯かな、
Bullet
パレッ
down
ト。
on the
そう
freezer
だね。
stairs.
あ、
So I
洗濯
think
じゃない、
he's
冷
just
蔵。
taken the call out
冷
from
蔵やっ
Power and
て、
pushed his way up there. And a man will be downed, will he? No, but
これ
there
一人
will
で
be
しょ。
kills
で、
raining in either
裏
way.
3
Nesk
人
and then
だけ
2
ど、
quick
入っ
ones for
て、い
Liquid.
やー、やっぱそうなるよね。
All going in
C4 だ。
their
し
favour
っ
right
かり。
now.
PSK はまた
Oh,
C4
man.
でや
Well,
っ
there
て
you
る
go.
から
The
強す
Liquid
ぎるな。
lockdown straight back in from the rehost. Seems
Korea,
like they definitely are
Kaido,
still
Korea.
feeling themselves as they'll be sitting pretty in the game, picking up another round and taking that tally up to a third.
C4 マン。
As they do lock it down. Crossfire's held strong. They weren't allowing them in. They weren't able to really get much going in favor of the attackers. Starves them out and leaves them out on
こ
the
れがやっ
streets.
ぱ基
Tim,
本
from
的な
IBR,
エキ
they're
の
starting
力
to
も
lose their
感じなのかも
chances
しれな
here
い
as
です。
well. There's only 2 more rounds left on their attacking half. You want to build yourself as big as a lead as you physically can on your attack. I'd say ideally, even just getting 2 rounds is probably a good spot you want to be aiming towards right now, up against the side like Liquid. If they can at least get another one, they do have a fighting chance when they get plopped over to their defense.
Oh yeah, there's no question. They absolutely need the second round here. They do not want to come out of this 1-5 down. That would be catastrophic against a team like Liquid. I would not expect them to throw that sort of lead away. We know that Oregon has been playing out for the better of the defenders at the minute. It's to be expected on a new map. It takes their attackers time to theory craft and get those attacking strategies and variations in place to break down these defenses. But I'd expect 4-2 to be a fair score here. We've seen Liquid win laundry twice. We've seen them win the dorms. They were very, very comfortable up here, so I think they win this one again. But by contrast, I don't think they were particularly close on meeting in Kitchen. I know it came down to the final second, but I think that was literally just a timing thing. You know, MIBR knew exactly who they needed to clear out. They were in position and executed when they needed to. And I don't think they'll have too much trouble winning the meeting site again. What I would be interested to see Team Liquid do is if they win here, get themselves down to kitchen and dining maybe, and just mix it up a little bit.
Well, let's see if they'll be able to do some chopping and get this squad back on the chopping block in terms of making their move over. Right now, into the 5th round. It is a lead for Liquid. Haven't really been able to find an opportunity to knock their confidence, put them in a position where it does seem like they're slow to the draw. For our attackers, we need to see something big coming out of them. I want to see that show up from Souls. I want Bullet being able to go in and
ノービスか。ごめんなさい。
on the
マ
act,
クザードが
make
カメ
use
ラ
of
マンに
it,
変わ
put
り
a
ま
load
し
of
た。
business
カ
and
メラマ
come
ン
through with
ああ、
early
確かに。
entry
あ、そうなん
kills.
です。カメラマ
Time
ン。
starts to tick away. We're getting down towards 2 minutes. And again, it's
そう
a nice
だ。
slow and
の
steady
ノー
round
ビス
from
か。
IBR.
か
Just
ごめん
draining
な
out
さい。
for info, not really getting too overconfident.
He's aware that there is a drone just up there, and he's
ここの
keen to
今
get
の
that
カメラ
clear
位
out.
置
He's
結
just
構
going to give a little ping, but he knows he can't
さっき
move
の
too far
BD
across
とか
there
も
because
い
he
い
will
感じは
likely be challenged on the angle from the attic. We've got
祭
Cyber
壇
now.
あ
He's just
あ、
crept
あれ
his
か
way
明
up
日の
whilst
セク
there.
シ
He's
ー
going
対
to see
策
the
に
man. He
入
takes
っ
the
てる
shots.
けど、いやー、どうなる
Get
い
the kill.
や
I wasn't sure that was
強い
going through. I thought Sexicate was just going to be able to save his life there and move away, but surely that
ど
call
う
out
すん
will
で
have
も
come
これ
through.
で
That Cyber is
C4
now looking to
が
push
1枚
potentially
減
at
っちゃっ
white stairs.
て
It's not a push that we
で
see too often on the new dorm site, but it's one that used to be
PSK1 は
very
あ、そっちにい
popular
るんだ
on the old Oregon was to apply
爪
pressure
を
to
飛
the
ばす
white
C4 じ
stairs
ゃ
and
ない
not
から
allow
ど
them
うするん
to
だろ
play at the top of there to deny a potential diffuser going on the
うこの
ground.
レン
So
ズ
it's
あ、スモー
interesting
クが
to
2
see
個あるから
it
ス
put
モ
to
ーク
use
焚い
by
てって
Cyber
感じ
here. He's still, for the
15
time being, is down at the bottom. I think he's just biding his time. He's waiting for the rest of the team to push here
あ、
because
でも
otherwise he will be
タワー
easily
に
closed
レン
out.
ズかレン
But
ズ焚い
definitely
て
an area to watch as this one progresses.
Oh, the peak. You could feel it coming, but it's not going to
いや
work
ー
out in
強っ
favor of
抜
Liquid.
いていく
As Bullet, this man truly is a smoking gun. He's thick with the steel as he peeks his way
スモー
out
クあと1
and
個
takes down, dealing damage that
入って
cannot
きて
be healed.
いやー強い
Second as
いや
well.
ここのやっぱ強いな
Overextension
盾
there
が
from cameraman as the reply comes
縦
out
ポ
from
ジからの
Liquid, but
スモー
Cyber
ク
keeps
違う
on rolling as he's bullying
あ
his way
階段上が
through
ったのかな
Liquid
キッチン階
opposition right now. 2 frags already to his name in this round. We see the use of the smoke cans as the peek up
Smoke
behind
takes
it.
over.
Not really going to work out
Yeah!
too well as every single one of them is being dropped down. That
惜しい
lands for the slaughter.
ナイス強
It's
すぎる
just on the last remaining
いやーだま
Esk, but he's been
これ
dealt
は
with quick. Cyber
どんまい
comes through easy as that as he gets himself another
1
kill, taking
の
them down
半
Tim, and
半
leaving them
は
without another
半
round.
分下
Too much
下
to
が
ask of Nest there,
どう
realistically.
なんだろう
1
な
versus
下
5
から
with
の
Plank going
2
down.
人目のです2人目の
He's
です
bullied.
が
Just by there to deny Oregon was to apply pressure to
Keep
the white
it
stairs and not allow them
裏
to
割る
play at the top of there to deny a potential diffuser going on the ground. So it's interesting to see it put to use by Cyber here. He's still, for the time being, is down at the bottom. I think he's just biding his time. He's waiting for the rest of the team to push here because otherwise he will be easily closed out.
狼のところ一人一
Definitely
人
an
と
area
下
to
か
watch as this one progresses.
あ、そっか、ここでやられたのか。
Big, you could feel it coming, but it's not going to work out
どうなん
in
だろう
favor
ね、
of
ここ。
Liquid as Bullet.
今
This
の、
man
いや、
truly is
あ
a
ー、難しい
smoking
ね。
gun.
今
He
の、なん
sticks
か、
with the steel as he
この
picks his
耐え
way
て、
out.
スモークと
And
一
takes
緒に
down, dealing
い
damage
て
but
も
cannot
言わしたけ
reach
ど、
heals. They drop a
強い。
second as well. Overextension there from Cameraman as the reply comes out from Liquid. But Cyber keeps on rolling as he's bullying his way through the Liquid opposition right now. 2 frags already to his name in this round. We see the use of the smoke cans as the peek up behind it. Not really going to work out too well as every single one of them is being dropped down like lambs to the slaughter. It's just on the last remaining member, Nesk, but he's been dealt with quick. Cyber comes through easy as that. As
Last
he gets
boy.
himself another kill, taking them down, Tim, and leaving them without another round.
うん。
Too much to ask of Nest there, realistically. 1 versus 5 with the plant going down. It's always going to be a big ask at that point, and it was just too much for him this time around. And what I was really interested to see there, Jackie, was Nesk in the mid round. And he's an interesting player to watch because he almost comes across as casual in the mid round. If you saw he was watching an angle, he gets a kill,
いや、これ
and
が
then he
強
just
すぎ
moves on
た
to
か
his
ら。
next angle.
で、
It's
これ
like
も
he's
強
got
すぎ
3
る。
or 4 angles as a checklist, and I'm going to hold this one,
強
I'm
い
going to get
な
my kill, and then it's as if he can
この
preempt where that next push is going to come from every
強
single
強だ
time,
っ
and he
たん
just
だけ
goes
ど。
and lies
あ、
himself
惜しい。
down, right, this is my next angle,
で、
I'm going to hold this,
一
and
回、
it's just them
どうも。
premonitions that seem
あ、
so
で
accurate
はまあい
for
い
him.
よ。書いて。やっぱいい。
Man. Ooh,
な
we've
んだっ
certainly
け。
had some deadly
このオ
premonitions
ペ
coming
レー
out
タ
of a
ー
few of
は、
the players on the way they've been
マベじゃなく
navigating and
て、
playing. It's been
マエストロだ。
pretty sickening to see it
マエ
coming
ストロ。
out. Just hope we get to see a little bit more of it as it does carry on then.
マ
Round
エ
6,
ストロ、
MIBR. They get another
プラ
one
ント
here.
見れ
If they
るよう
can
に
put
置くの
themselves
かな。
into a 3-3 stance, that's really good. In terms of what we've seen so far historically from Oregon, that's a nice position to be in. That means you do have a lot of momentum going forward onto your defense, and it certainly mounts a bit more pressure up against Team Liquid. Other hand is, though, Parla, before the rehost, this man was absolutely rinsing. In every single firefight, he was peeling back scalps to him like a certified lip remover. Will we see more magic from the Maestro in this round?
Oh, it was like last of the heat. It was, absolutely. I don't know if you've seen that
こ
film. I
れ
don't
は、
know.
ああ、でもインパクト持ちつきするわ
Yeah,
けで
he
もな
was
いのか。
going through. He was just fighting left, right, and centre. It was, like you say, he was dangerous. But now coming in here, maybe not quite as much. He's sort of struggling a little bit after the rehost, and it is, going to be an important question. It's going to be an important factor as to how he
今
can
度は
get
セクシー
himself
ケークは、
rolling
あ、なるほど。
after
もうちょい
after
待って
that
から
rehost
下
and
入
whether
る
he
感
can
じ。
keep up
ま
that
た
energy and
元の
momentum.
感じに戻すのか。
Obviously, going into that rehost, it can slow you down a little bit. We've seen it in the past, so it wouldn't be the biggest surprise if it did happen. However, the rest of the side certainly can still show up if they continue to play as well as they were. MIBR, again, slow and steady, as they are a bit of a slow burner in terms of these rounds. We haven't really seen that characteristic MIBR burst that's been coming out. We've definitely seen it in the past, but they do like to turn the tides and just charge their way in and go for something aggressive.
は、今度は大
Whereas
窓
right now, they
もう一回
know
や
the
るのかな、さっ
quality of
きの。
competition they're up
因
against.
が
They
いな
have
いけど。
certainly been playing with an
あー、
awful
って
lot
こ
of
とは、あれ
respect.
か、下取って、因で、いいんじゃ
I'm
ないか、
sure that
いいんじゃないけ
respect
ど、
will continue
大
as
窓
this
から
one
入っ
goes
ちゃっ
on.
てっ
Up
ていう
in
感じ
dorms
でやるの
again,
か
and
な。
MIBR, they're surely going to be feeling confident coming out of round number 5. They did
二
a
人、
very
三
good job
人
of
いる
assaulting
まだ
on
大
here.
窓
They just
二
managed
人
to
か、二人とドローン1
encircle
個。
Team Liquid and just made it very difficult for them to
と、
breathe, let
大
alone
神
move.
外
There was
と
just
レンツと、
absolutely no
下
freedom
に足
for
かな。
them
いや、違う
whatsoever.
わ、
You
足
can
も
see
いってるよ。
just due diligence being played there. Cameraman, I think it was an Lamb King, just getting that Claymore down so that he can move around a little bit more freely.
Oh, good idea.
What a nade
Ah!
from Cameraman!
強
Shutting
っ
down PSK, taking the mute
それ、
off
マジ
the
か。
board.
逃げてたの
That's
に
a
な。
nitro gone as
カメラ
well,
が
and that
現
is
地
a
にかと、現地
great
と、
opener for
あれ
MIBR.
か、レンツ
Winding
に
that one back,
進行見るようにな
cameraman
って、で
known
もそこ
for
落ちちゃったか
strong
ら、下のアッシュが、
forearms and even
そうだね、
better
下のアッシュが、
three-pointers as he
さっ
dunks
きやら
on
れ
in
た
with a HG,
車線
blowing
ケア
him
し
to
て、
high hell
深
and
海上がっ
dropping him out
て、
of
いやー、こ
the
れはジェミニーうざい
information
なーって
galore
言った。
coming
で、
in
窓
as he
ロック
pushes
入
his
っ
way in
て、
as well. Using the Iana drone to
で
recon
あ、でも
every
やってる、
single
やり
play.
返してる。
They know the
一枚。
locations
で、
now
後
of the
手法、さっ
defenders.
きのやられ
They're
た。
hitting their shots as
で、
well.
入っ
Ace
てきた
dropping
ところしっ
another
か
man
り
down
分
to the
断のロッ
ground.
ク入れ
Pala
てるから
down and
倒
out
し
of
て、
commission.
プラン
Nest
トはいけ
suffers
て
the
る
same fate.
プラントいけて、い
All
けて
on
ない。
Narenga. He's in a 1
あ、いってん
versus
のか。
3. He still has a single smoke can left to try and roll with. He sees the rope. He knows they're coming, but he doesn't want to dash himself out. He's got to hold. He's got to peek into it. It favors
いやー、で
Cameraman
も、
as he
こ
capitalizes
れ
on
は
the kill and cleans up
どうなんだろうね。MIBR がしっかりさっきやられた嫌なことをやり返したって感じか。リキッドとしては、どこを変えればよかったのかな。
One back cameraman known for strong forearms.
多分大窓来るって読んでなかったっていうか、ガジェットがそっちにあんまりなくて、でもこっち逆のあれの攻めだったから、窓ラペとか入った時点で、あ、ワンチャン逆サイかも。下、CK 行く位置。
Single smoke can left to try and roll with. He sees the ringer. He's down to the ground. Pala, winding that one back. Cameraman known for strong forearms and even better three pointers. He dunks on him with a HE, blowing him to high hell, dropping him out of the server. Information galore coming in as he pushes his way in.
セクシーケイク。あ、セクシーケイクがここで一人倒したのか。倒したけど、倒せ。あ、そこ、逆またお手法で、あれか、やられてる。It's all on Moringa. He's in a 1 versus 3. He still has a single smoke can left to try and roll with. He sees the rope. He knows they're coming. 子供のあそこの、ところのハッチから降りて、降り返すとかしかなかったから C4 した。
From dunking to dropping funk on the last man, dancing his way towards the top. That's the end of the half, Tim, as it gets rounded up at a smooth 3-3.
3 to 3, and I'm not sure we would have predicted that or anybody else at home would have done coming into this. We know this is going to be a close match. We knew that coming into it. It was difficult to call, but right now that is a great attacking half for MIBR, especially on a map where we've seen more difficulty, if anything, on the attacking side. So for MIBR to come away 3 for 3, that is very, very good at this point in time. They now move on to the defense, and Team Liquid, they've got a big job ahead of them now. They've had some success on the attack. We can see they've done very well in dorms and meeting, not so well in laundry and basement. So if nothing else, MIBR, they need to make sure they lock away those 2 rounds in laundry and basement, and then this war is going to be won or lost in those secondary and tertiary sides.
We couldn't have asked for a better outcome.
子供ラペと大窓と階段。あと、どっちだっけ両方の窓。俺ちょっと名前がわかんないんだけど。子供ラペと、さっきの、なんだっけ、ジェミニがラペところと大窓とチンカイ。で、多分、もうそこで、用意みたいな入って、って感じなのかな、MIBR としては。確かに、あれはもう下が取れてるから、さっきのラウンド1だったかな、やられてたあれも、対応もしっかりしてるし、考えて、やっぱさすがだね、すごいな。
Certainly is. As anybody who's going to come in and get those 2 and 3Ks is always going to be an entertaining watch. That much is for sure. It's just that unpredictability that we like, that explosive nature of these players.
こんなに上がってきてるのは、あれかも。
M King there, he's just roaming around on the Mozzie. He's going to try to make things difficult.
3枚上がって、おー、セクシー。うおーマジでもまだタワー残って、あ、そう、タワー逆にもう引いたら、あれかって感じで。いやー、すごいな。
So difficult to predict. Laundry is a site we would generally see the defenders do very well on, but right now Liquid just coming in and absolutely overturning this. 5 versus 2. There's only Pala that's taken any meaningful damage. Sexy Cake is still up there at 75 and absolutely fine. And there is a big, big job for M King and Bullet to do if they want to be successful here.
Certainly a lot more to go into the round as they're down to just a 2 versus 5. Pala's low, sure, but they're not really in a position to actually punish them or take any of them out. This should certainly be a strong opening round from the Team Liquid Lunatics as they've come in, they've opened it up, and they've now just got it teetering on a knife edge. And they know they've done the hard part, so they can certainly grind it down. You never want to throw away a lead like this. They will just take their time with it, playing it out nicely. Pala. Oh no, dunking on Bullet as he throws that one in, detonating him out of the server. Moringa for the final kill with the L85. As he won't be messing around and saving that one for later, Tim. He'll be doing it in the present as he punishes on the peak.
Certainly will be, and we have Team Liquid coming out and giving a very strong account of themselves on the attack in round 7. That's going to be a successful, an unusual successful attack onto the laundry site there, and that is a big round for Team Liquid to win.
B。
The problem is, because they've won down there, they now have to go back there again, and with the low attacker win rate that we have seen so far
グラス
on
グレ、
that
そっか、
site,
グレ持ちだから入れ
it's
て、
not
立ちがに
necessarily ideal for
変えて、
them to have another bite at the cherry for MIBR. It could
オレ
well
ゴン
just
ピッ
put them
ク。
back in touch. Now, this Tachanka pick, I know usually you would look at that and think it was a bit of a meme play, but it is absolutely not. It is something that we have seen previously down on this site. He will most certainly be played in bunker, just at the door where Nesk's drone is kindly at the minute, highlighting that for us. He'll play that in bunker, and he'll point it directly towards that double door. He'll have a shield in front of him, and he is
この
just
小部
going
屋
to
の
try and
ハッ
prevent
チのところ
anybody from
2
being
枚
able
閉
to move in through there. And that was
さっ
where we
き
saw
閉
a
め
lot
て
of pressure
な
from
い
Team
気が
Liquid there. So not too much of a surprise they've done that in a response.
攻
The
撃は
Lord and Savior
どうする
himself.
のかな。
He's thick, he means business, and he absolutely loves to cause
じゃあ
carnage to him. These are the things that you love
グ
to
レ持ち
see.
だからスレッジが
It's all down to whether Team Liquid choose to push in the same manner or not,
木
Jackie. I mean, I
木
think they
木
pushed
じゃな
down
くて
here
グラスか
because they'd
グ
got
ラ
those
ス
couple of early picks, so they knew they'd killed off a lot of roamers and that they were able to push towards site and focus on that. Whilst they think that there's other players out in the map somewhere around kitchen, meeting, dining, top floor even, maybe they'll push in a different way and maybe we won't see that same attention to construction.
Potentially. We'll have to wait and see how this
あ
one
あ、揺らず、
unfolds.
あれ
'Cause I
だ、
can
グレ
only
持ち、
imagine
グレじゃないんだ。
we do get a chance
普通に
for
木持っ
the
て。
big chaos that he could cause. It'd certainly be a fun moment to witness. We'll see though, we'll come back to that as it develops right now again. In the course of the round, going into round 8, Team Liquid previous very quick on the draw. They came in on their attack and they were doing damage with the way they were playing. They were pushing out and being able to pop off, peeling people back relatively quickly from the get-go. MIBR, not wanting to suffer the same fate into this round, they're not overextending, they're not peeking out, they're not playing overly aggressive. They are willing to just hold and wait for the oncoming onslaught. They're locking down, Tim. They're essentially in the bunker and waiting for this hurricane to pass.
So,
ど
the
うするのかな、これ
hurricane
上開
is
け
a
るの
slow
待
moving
っ
hurricane,
て、
Jackie.
え、
It's not
戦うのか
Take
な
time.
グラス。
You take time.
They're just building up. They're just building up the wind at this point.
Yeah.
They're just
Right
getting the
now,
wind in the
it's, you know,
sails.
it's picked up a couple of cherry bushes, maybe a small dog, like a chihuahua would be in there. Not a man, you know, it couldn't really get the force to pick
い
it
やー、
up.
強い。
Ooh,
あー、でも、あれなん
see
だ
where。the force is coming
窓
from,
ガラ
though.
ス、
Forceful entry attempting to be achieved by Pala, the human
木がまだ
crow.
1個あるのか。
Crack this one wide open on the glass, shooting like a madman. But none of these bullets actually going to be providing much success.
パ
They
ワー
haven't
回
been able
と
to
かは
force him
入
off
れて
that
ないのか
angle. And he is still holding strong. Let's see if our thick boy can actually keep them back.
For anybody wondering why those shots
Yeah,
were
I'll see.
quite landing from the glass, I don't think
Okay,
that's any
team
sort of
I'm
hit
a 普通にタ
registration
ワーと
issue. It
バ
was
ンカー
the
で押
Tachanka
す気満
shield
々
in front of him that was
して
protecting the
引い
Lord and
て
Savior. You can see the
あ
final
ーで
shot
締め
did
て
land as the
で
shield
もあ
was
と1分
shattered
1
and
分
Cyber managed to
も
put one
ある
through onto him, but it wasn't
どう
a
するのここ
headshot.
か
So
ら
he will
木
escape
もあ
with
る
his
し
life for the time being, but that is bunker control coming in towards Team Liquid now. They should be able to build from here. This is their platform, it's their beachhead, and they need to do something
横
with
割りに
it.
行く
But
の
with
かな
only
バンカ
40
ーの
seconds left on the board, they need to start thinking about getting some kills to begin with.
They need frags. They have to come through and show that this hurricane can really kick it up a notch. As right now, it looks like it is nothing more than a bit of a strong wind. Yeah, you might knock over the
25
occasional
横
bin,
壁
you
割
know,
っ
as we
て
said, maybe
バッ
pick up
シ
a
ュが
small
入っ
dog. You really got to
て
show that you can
あ
shake and
上
rattle
からあ
the
上上がって
defense
る
that are around. In terms of the trades, though, as
123
the hurricane will hit, it is defended. We see the response back in kind. One frag apiece. Moringa's gone. That's Fasher the Smasher not going to be doing any more damage
どう
into
なん
the
だろう
round.
上
And for M King,
取られちゃってる
Wamai
から
is
いや
out
ー危
of
ない
mission. Oh, damage in peak.
あーしっかり
Top.
よく
Shot down from
上がってきたな
cameraman. He had a
バンカー
bird's
や
eye view on the situation.
けどプ
Yeah,
ラ
he can
ンと言
record
っ
it.
て
You
る
can't
いや
record
ー
it.
で
The
も
only
こ
one
どう
really
なん
doing
だろう
damage
もう
now
ちょ
from
い
the side
バ
is
ンカーとか
Solskjaer
早く
coming
取れ
through,
てたら
detonating down,
連想
denying the
どうなんだろう
Browns
ね
have
バン
starved them
カ
out.
ー
They've
存在
wasted
出して
time.
裏っ
They've not
と
been
言
able
っ
to
て
get
た気が
themselves in a position to plant him, and it's all gone wrong.
As expected, a successful defense there for MIBR in round 8. We thought that we might just see that, given that they were having that second bite of the cherry down at Laundry, and it is such a strong defensive site at the minute. It was a nut that Team Liquid were unable to crack this time around, despite packing Tachanka's bags and sending him on his way from bunker. They just couldn't get the angles that they needed, and MIBR, they were able to hold on and just watch that clock tick by until ultimately the round went in their favour. So 8 rounds in, and we are still none the wiser in terms of this matchup. We find ourselves 4 versus 4 on the scoreboard at this point, and we are heading up to dorms now. This will be the first attempt we see MIBR make of the top floor site. This is a big one. This is a big one because it gives somebody the opportunity, whoever wins this, can then go on, if they can take the next round to 6 match point, and they have a couple of bites at it. Whoever doesn't get this, they're then fighting back for that 5-all situation. And as we know, when you get to 5-all, the best that you can hope for is to have one chance at winning the match. So really, whoever wins this, they need to stretch the legs after that, and they need to try and give themselves that little bit of comfort, that little bit of breathing room, just to have that couple of bites at the cherry to get this one over the line.
Round 9. Carrying on with the carnage of the way it's been playing out right now. It's good to see at least MIBR going toe-to-toe. When they're shoved, they push back. If they need to get themselves out of a corner, they are able to reply, and they keep this game going. It is certainly one that's got a couple of twists and turns left to it. For Team Liquid, though, I imagine they're now getting to a point where they realise we need to lock it down if we are going to actually make points from this series and keep ourselves in the upper echelons where they want to be, as we are quite late into the season now, then they need to lock it down. They have to actually get themselves this matchup, and this is a pivotal round. Put yourself on 5, have that advantage, so if you get one more, you've guaranteed a draw, and leave MIBR thirsting for more.
1 minute into the round then, and we can see that rear stage is in the possession now. The big tower belongs to Team Liquid. PSK just getting in there. We can see the Thatcher EMP comes out as well to support him in getting that attic wall open. So pressure will start to mount on the defenders at the end of that corridor. We can see one man moving across. Sexy Cake, he's going to apply some pressure from the armory window as well. It looks like there is a man actually defending hard in armory, so needs to be careful. The challenge is going to have to be made there. What they're trying to do ultimately is get control of armory corridor, master closet, trophy and attic, and if they can do that, they can start mounting towards getting a plant down inside the game room. Power opening things up for us with a frag grenade onto M King. That takes the Wamai off the board, and that is armory clear. That's exactly what they needed. And you know, you've got to ask the minor question there. Obviously Wamai has got the gadgets, the utility to prevent exactly that happening, so you know, where were those being deployed? Cameraman will get one onto Moringa, but will be traded. Obviously Wamai has got the gadgets that you needed, and you know, you've got to Wamai off the board, and that is armory clear. Armory corridor, master closet, attic, and if they can do that, they can start mounting towards getting a plant down inside the game room. Power opening things up for us with a frag grenade onto M King. That takes the Wamai off the board, and that is armory clear. That's exactly what they needed. And you know, you've got to ask the minor question there of obviously Wamai has got the gadgets.
リンガってどこにいたんだ？電通？タワーの下にいたわ。上がってきたのかな？
4 versus 3 coming into the final minute.
Not much time left on this one. 55 seconds. Team Liquid, you've got an edge. You'll be able to roll with it. We'll be able to build off the back of the position you put yourself in and really thrust yourself into the forefront of this round. That's not a good move to make.
すごいな。これ窓行って下行って。あー、いや、
they'll be able to take that man down
賃貸
and
が焼い
leave
ちゃ
it
って
just
ス
onto
モー
the
クがまだ
last
残っ
two.
てる
The
から
dynamic duo,
考える
will
と
they be damn good enough to be able to clutch this one out? Bullet with the support of Souls lurking
タ
around,
ワーとミッ
utilizing
ドと
the remainder of those cans. He's been clutching onto them for quite some time, and he's still got one left in reserve. Talking of reserve plays, look at the nitro
あ、割らないの
swinging
かな？
on the
割
hip
っ
of
てやる。
Souls. His palms will be sweating, waiting for the
信
right
号
opportunity
を
to
変えて
dash
る？
that out and do some damage, hoping to destroy them as they come knocking onto
ああ、
his
そういう
site.
こと
But
か。
Bullet, he can't reposition
開けて
quick
つ
enough.
っ
He
て、
is
で
taken
も一
down.
人
Souls
倒
will
し
get
て
the
るけど、
frag
インジャーに
onto
なっ
Nest.
て
He
C4
chucks out
が、
the
いや
nitro. He pulls
ー
it. He gets
いや、
the
飛んで
kill.
る？
There's enough damage on
い
the
や
side
ー、
as
強
well.
っ。
He can finish off Sexy Cake with a
こ
single
れ
tap.
は、
But he
ど
won't
うなん
even
だろう
need
な。
to.
最
Tim, as
後、
he comes
途中良か
around,
ったけど、
time
キ
is
ッ
already
チン
up.
階が
They
取れ
had to get
て
the
れば、
diffuser down, and they
次ワン
just
チャン取れ
couldn't.
たって感じ。
Time proving a real factor here for Team Liquid, just struggling. They might be getting themselves into the right positions, but they're not doing it quickly enough, and they're not leaving themselves enough time to execute onto site and think about getting that diffuser down. So we have an early advantage here to MIBR in this overall best of 2. They get themselves to 5-4. If they can take this next round, which is going to be kitchen and dining, they get themselves that match point opportunity. Not only do they do that, but they give themselves 2 clear rounds to win it. So then they can go back to laundry. They can go back to dorms where they've just been successful. So it gives them a lot more choice, a lot more variety, and a lot more opportunity to close things out. Team Liquid on the other side, they really need to get this round in the bag. If they can bring this back to 5-5, then they are still fighting here on Oregon. But let's not forget, if MRBR are successful here, they guarantee themselves the draw.
And that's huge. That is a real big statement to be made here. And it's certainly worse for Team Liquid. I think if the outcome is in favor of MIBR, that's one that Team Liquid are going to be a little bit disappointed in themselves in the sense of they need the points now more than ever. This is such a pivotal time for them in the season. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not start painting the picture that maybe this is just MIBR with the guaranteed draw, with the chances to go on for the win here on Oregon. Team Liquid, we know what they're like, Tim. You got the perfect analogy for it in the sense that normally they're only ever halted, right? They're never completely switched off. They're just on standby.
You know that I love it, and you know that's how I call it. That's going to stick, Jackie. That's definitely my my phrase for Liquid. That is how I will always describe them from now on. They are never on stop, but only on pause. It is only a matter of time, and if you give them enough time, it is inevitable that that switch is going to flick, and they are going to run all over you. The question is, have MIBR given them enough breathing space, or are they keeping close enough? Are they breathing down the neck? Are they keeping the pressure on so that they can't even think? The next round is important. It's really going to tell us how this one is going to shape up. MIBR, they're going to be desperate to get this one on the board, but the question is, will they snatch at it? Will they just try to grasp hold of this too tightly?
Would they be able to actually get a grip and hold on to it? Because obviously, if those palms are sweaty, with the fact that they have been a little bit worried about the quality of these rounds, about the fact that they're barely being able to scrape by and snatch them out, they're always coming down to clutches. Maybe that leaves them in a position where they are not looking as good as they physically could be. We'll find out, though, as the push is starting to come in. We're down to 1 minute and 40, and Team Liquid are beginning to slowly advance. Slowly, but surely, utilizing the drones once again. A bit of a peek out. We see cameraman actually facing. Bites off more than he can chew. He might have got a read, but he's not going to be able to find any success. He's been shot in the back of the head, cranium gone, lungs gone, life's gone. That's cameraman dead.
Cameraman sent back to the dark room there, and that is where he's going to wait until round 11. And that was a big risk. That was a roll of the dice for MIBR going for such a aggressive early peak like that. Pala will shut Cyber down on exactly the same angle there. From main door, and that is again another big roll of the dice coming in from MIBR. Double peaking that same angle. You really are asking for trouble. And Team Liquid have completely shut it down. They've got themselves a great advantage here. 5 versus 3 in round 10, and they are looking to tie things up here. 5 apiece. They are looking to get themselves that little bit of momentum that they need to just propel themselves forward and onto that match point.
Here we go. 35 seconds. Crunch time. Is this one going to be a Liquid round? Or somehow MIBR be able to show up and overwhelm? They might be down when it comes to manpower, but is the momentum there for them? Can they prove that it doesn't matter about the numbers and it's all just about when you perform? They can have these hero plays. The angles are being cleared. Sexy Cake going in the first. Advancement Pala coming around the sideline to be able to make a superstar play. Shutting down the first. Being able to get the adjustment onto the second as well. But Team Liquid... Oh, it's all just about when you perform. If they can have these hero plays, as the angles are being cleared, Sexy Cake coming in for the first advancement, coming around the side.
これはピース、サッチャーかな。サッチャー倒して、いやー強いな。いやでもどうなんだろうね、あそこのロビーの飛び出しで2枚勝ったのが大きかったというのか、攻撃の攻め方が綺麗だったのか。
攻め方
We all know, Jackie, that Ash moves faster than time itself, faster than the speed of light. She came in there and just absolutely closed that one out for Team Liquid. We can see on the replays there, Power just shutting Cyber down on that same angle, coming in with a kill onto Bullet as well. Great round from him. Third there as he captures Souls in the back. And again, what a great performance we are seeing out of him. It seems like playday after playday we are shouting that name out, and it is no wonder that him and Nesk are battling for the top spots here in LATAM at the minute in terms of individual ratings and statistics. They are going strong. Right now, round 11, nobody is going strong here yet. This is neck and neck. Noses keep just edging forward, threatening to get over the line first. Who can take the winner's post here? Who can take the checkered flag? That is the question. Right now, it's 5 versus 5. We're guaranteed of only one thing, Jackie. Well, we're guaranteed of two things. The first is that all 12 rounds. Second is entertainment.
Oh, absolutely. This has been damn exciting with the way it's been played. We've had consistent just changes in the story. Every time we think we're going to start to get something that, you know, is repeatable, is going to go the same way it should every time, it just does not happen. Team Liquid keep you guessing. MIBR, they start going for those power plays that just don't work. They attempted the double run out, left themselves so susceptible in a position where you're fighting 3 versus 5. When you're down like that, it's so hard. You can't effectively play the trade game. You're always going to lose out. It means you need someone to be able to get at least 2 frags on the entry. It really starves you of success into the round, Tim. It's been a nightmare for him.
King's just got himself led down on the top hole and on the floor there in bunker. He's just using that deployable shield as much cover as he can to try and prevent this push coming into bunker. And Team Liquid certainly wanting to be aggressive towards it. There is a man in big tower. I'm not sure if Sexy Cake is going to catch him out or not. Looks like he's probably on the stairs there, so we'll be able to rotate away. It is indeed Cameraman there, just holding an angle as best he can. He's trying to keep Liquid from gaining this big tower control too soon. He gets the nitro out, but he's just not sure anybody's played in there yet, and he would be correct in thinking that, so he's going to hold on to it for the time being. I think he knows there's one on the window. Out goes the nitro. Manages to avoid him. Moringa moves it, gets the kill, so that now leaves us 5 versus 4. Team Liquid early advantage, which gets bigger. PSK kill onto Souls. 5 versus 3 now. This one is going rapidly in the direction of Team Liquid. They're going to be the ones who give themselves the opportunity to get a match point here, to close out Oregon. That is the big question. This has been hard fought all the way so far, and with 1.5 minutes left, we might just get a little bit of a lull here as M-King shuts down Nest, but it is a direct raid. That is unfortunate for MIBR. 1 versus 4 now. I'm sure the Wolves, they're going to be circling at this point.
I know where this man is. Unfortunately for Cyber, I don't think he's going to have the opportunity to cyber bully his way through the big boys on Team Liquid. He does have a cheeky angle in there. They're free-firing around. They already know there's suspicion is there. First encounter gets the shot off and takes down Moringa, but of course it's still way too big of an order. You can't recite all of that for one man. He might get the first, but the killing blow is traded back from PSK as he will pop him down and leave him as a fine pace on the ground.
Cameraman just struggling a little bit on the entry over the last couple of rounds. He's taken the opening death, one on a run out and then one there in big tower, and it's just not really helping his team at this point in time. He needs to keep himself alive a little bit more, try to win out on those opening frags. He's done so well on that so far this season that we might expect to see a little bit better from him, but we'll see whether that plays into a factor here in round 12, whether MIBR can come out strong. It wouldn't surprise me, and I don't think it would be an unfair result to have a draw come out here. It's been very close so far, very hotly contested. Both of these going absolute hammer and tongs for this one.
All sorts of madness. So many crazy rounds that we've had off the back of this game, and now it all comes down to this. This is where it physically must end. Either as a draw, with both teams putting up a good fight and showing at the end of the day they just didn't quite have enough to take over the finish line. Or Team Liquid, if they are able to come through with another stone cold stunner and leave MIBR sleeping with the fishes, give them the cement clogs, Tim, get them to the bottom of the ocean, then this is them walking away with a 7-5, and it means that they will get a huge amount of points potentially off the back of the series if they can keep it rolling into the second map.
Could be a really decisive factor in the league. As you see,
今度は
it'll
さ
be
す
a
がに
really
でも一人
important one for
か
Team
階
Liquid
段
to
上
come
がろうと
away
して
with
る。
3 points here because it just really stretches their legs, especially after Team 1
2人
didn't
上がって
manage
る。
to get the full 3 points earlier. It just gives them that additional breathing space, and while teams around them are picking up draws, picking up losses, it's just
これ
going
後から
to give
冷
them
蔵
that real
途中上が
superiority
り
in the
とか
league.
じゃ
And the
ダメなのかな。
important thing is there, when we come towards those last couple of weeks, it maybe gives them a bit of breathing space where they can actually start just preparing for
ま
who
すげ
they are likely to play in the online major. It gives them that extra couple of weeks where maybe they don't have to do the same
Tower で
level of prep
また
work
どうすんのかな。
for the league here because
逃げる
they've already got it
逃げれる
sewn
か
up
な。
if they can get
あ、戻
themselves
っ
to
て
that
た。
position.
1、2、3。ロビーと
That was
冷
better
蔵
so
庫
far.
上がろうとしてるのか
Nothing too crazy coming. Fast aggressive plays again. We're seeing the same sort of story from Team Liquid where they'll take their time. They'll be able to slowly pick and pull. Play that split and pick style of siege where you
どうするん
will
だ。タワ
open
ー
up
階
across the map. Then
戻
play
れ
off
な
the
く
back of it
な
with
り
the
そう。
angles you've got available to you and push your way in and clean up.
あ、
Right
戻った。
now, we're down to a minute and 45
で
seconds
横
left
壁
on
は
the
もう
clock
閉め
as
てる
Team
のかな。
Liquid do begin to make their moves, getting a little bit more lenient in their pushes as they're
そう
clearing out the
あ、
angles.
壊さ
We
れた。
see Sexy Cake on the attack, walking his way down on the Nomad. We have the close angle cleared, using that drone as essentially the first point of recon, so he'll follow in quickly behind with a trade potential of Parla being
まだ会議も終わってない。
Not too sure about the site choice here. 3 times we've seen MIBR defend Laundry. They've only won it once, and
で、
given what they've
あと
done
1分
elsewhere,
15
they
で、
could well have gone to dorms here where they did win in round 9 and they won
あ
quite
体で出て
convincingly.
き
So
て、
I'm not sure whether that plays
メン
into
ツ
the
いない。
outcome or not here. We will see. If Liquid win this,
割る。
it's definitely got
あと
to
1
be
分。
one of the questions that is asked here. Going for a second time in a row when you've
待っ
just
て、あ、
lost it
今
out
上がっ
last
てた
time
誰か。
around.
うわ、
I
上がっ
think
てる。
it's potentially a big ask when you really need something out of the
さっ
round.
きも、あ、さっきも上がってたね。
It really can be.
さっきも。で、
I'm scared that maybe it's a little
ハッ
bit too
チ。
much
あ、だ
that
か
they
ら、あれ
want
か、
out
サッチャー
of
を一
them.
人、ベンツに
MIBR,
残しとくのか。
all 5 alive. Doesn't matter if you got the numbers, if you're not hitting your shots. You got to show that you can really be handy with those firearms that they've got as they do
壁割
start
っ
to
て、
slowly
アッ
make
シュ
their
残し
approach
て、
now and reposition around. They've got
真ん
good
中の
angles
廊
for the
下ロ
post
ッ
plant
ク
that
して、
should be able to make
フラ
some
ン
kind
と
of
していく
ruckus
感じ。
against Team Liquid when push comes to shove, but it looks like the shove is starting to occur. Team Liquid now really banging on the door.
また
They
だ。
want to force their
上がやら
way
れて
in.
る。
Moringa's down. That's Fasher
けど
out of
ネス
commission, but Nest trades it back.
あ、
And he's
冷蔵
staying
か。冷
alive.
蔵やっ
He
た
might
か
be
ら、プラントい
choking,
け
but
ちゃ
he's
う。
not choking away the round.
お部屋
Response
倒
from
す。
Sexy Cake as he'll
よ、
charge his
ど
way
うな
in,
ってるん
goes
だ。
toe to toe, and
上
only
か。
gets
あ、
one
上上がったの
encounter,
か。
leaving them down into a
来るな
3
ので。
versus 2. It's
いや、
tough to
強い。
play for here, and it doesn't work well on
え
the
や、
close
強い。
encounter. Cyber cleaning him up, but no
二人
bullet. He
1v1。
takes down his own teammate as he assaults the SAS man, shutting down Cyber and
け
leaving
ど、インチャーし
such
て
a
るから、あ
horrendous
れか。
task ahead of him.
分か
A
ってるの
1
かな。
versus 2, but he's
1、
taking a good jab at it, Tim.
2。
He jumps on the diffuser, but the peak should come
あ、
around. Pala taking out the wall. He's got him off the diffuser. He's forced him off 20 seconds. He needs to clean out on
18。
the peak, but the angle's being watched. Will he bait the
いった。
face?
いやー、
Tries
惜
to
しい。
crouch walk his way in, but it won't matter. Pala will hit
う
the
ん。
shot. He shuts him
こ
down,
れ
but the
は、
SMG, the clutch from the main man, the sledge himself, shows up for the boys in.
しっかり手順を踏んだの
Is
が
down. That's
大成功。
Focus against Team Liquid
こ
when push
こま
comes
で
to
は5
shove,
対
but it
5
looks
で、
like the shove is starting to
真ん
occur.
中ロッ
Team
クで。
Liquid now really banging
上が、
on the door
これどうやってやったの
as they want to force their way in. Moringa's down. That's Fasher out of
降りて
commission,
きた
but
のか
Nest
な、
trades it
サッチャ
back, and he's staying alive. He might
ー。さ
be
っきサッチャー
choking,
ボールを投げ
but
てた気がするから、
doesn't
あと
matter
は
if you got
メ
the
イン
numbers,
2 か
if you're
ら
not hitting your shots. You got to show that you can
降
really
りて
be
きてい
handy
る。1、2、3。そうだ、会議にいたの
with
か。
those firearms that
で
they've、got
サッ
as they
チャ
do
ーボー
start to
ルを、
slowly make their approach
そこ
now
か。
and reposition around. They've got good angles for the post plant that
あっ
should be able
ち
to
のところか
make
ら
some
転
kind
がして、なるほどね。あっちからサッチャーボールを
of
転が
ruckus
して、
against Team Liquid when push comes to shove, but it looks like the shove is starting to occur. Team Liquid now
当て
really
て、
banging on the
で、
door
上、ミュー
as
ト
they
やら
want
れ
to
て、スレッジが
force
階段
their
駆け上がっ
way
た
in.
のかな。
Moringa's down. That's Fasher
ネス
out
ク
of
が冷
commission,
蔵
but
やっ
Nest trades it
て、
back, and he's
階段そうだ
staying
ね、上がっ
alive. He
てや
might
っ
be
て、
choking, but he's not
小部屋
choking
前
away the
倒
round.
して、それ
Response
ど
from
こからやる
it
んだ
back,
真ん
but he's
中かな
staying
真
alive.
ん
He
中
might
の
be
廊下の
choking, but he's not choking
家
away
側
the
か。
round.
家
Response
側
from
かな
Sexy
そうだ
Cake
ね。
as he'll
バレッ
charge his
トに
way
や
in,
られ
goes
て、
toe to toe, and
上、やっ ああ、なるほどな。強いな。
Into a 3 versus 2. It's all to play for here, and it doesn't work well on the close encounter. Cyber cleaning up, but no bullet. He takes down his own teammate as he assaults the SAS man, shutting down Cyber and leaving such a horrendous task ahead of him. A 1 versus 2, but he's taking a good jab at it, Tim. He jumps on the diffuser, but the peak should come around. Pala taking out the wall. He's got him off the diffuser. He's forced him off. 20 seconds. He needs to clean out on the peak, but the angle's being watched. Will he bait the face? Tries to crouch walk his way in, but it won't matter. Pala will hit the shot. He shuts him down with the SMG. The clutch from the main man. The Sledge himself shows up for the boys in Team Liquid. Lives it large as he locks it down, and Liquid walk away with 7-5 rather than the draw.
What a tense finish that was. Diffuser on the ground, walls being opened up by sledgehammers. Unbelievable finish there. Some real suspense to the end of that one. 7-5 it will be in favour of Team Liquid come the finish, and we can see the kills there reasonably even across the board. That was after a rehost. Power's got a few more to add on from that. I think he's probably on about 15 for Oregon there, which is a great total for him. But overall, a reasonably even match, and MIBR doing great work there to keep themselves in it and fight into the end. But Team Liquid, that's the sort of quality I keep talking about. Those are the tough games that you need to be able to win and see out and get those big wins.
Tim, do you know what pains me so much? So many of these clutch rounds on Oregon feel like they have been snatched away due to team kills. It's horrendous to see, Tim. You get a bit of a wince. Yeah, it just doesn't feel good.
I don't know whether there's something about the map that maybe supports
something
it,
in the water.
where the defenders are playing and the angles, or some really, I'm sure there's some strange coefficient that a mathematician could probably do based on normal positioning and angles, and the fact that there seems to be a lot of crossover between the defenders in the movement. But you're right, we do keep seeing them.
We do, and we still got more to come. We're going to be seeing even more out of Team Liquid and MIBR. We'll be going into the second map when we return after the break.
So far this season that we might expect to see a little bit better from him, but we'll see whether that plays.
Teams putting up a good fight and show.
It just gives them that additional age. It gives them that extra couple of weeks where maybe they don't have to do the same level of prep work for the league here, because they've already got it sewn up if they can get themselves to that position.
No, it's steady so far. Nothing too crazy coming. Fast, aggressive plays again. We're seeing the same sort of story from Team Liquid, where they'll take their time. They'll be able to slowly pick and pull, play that split and pick style of Siege, where you will open up across the map. Then play off the back of it with the angles you've got available to you, and push your way in and clean up. Right now, we're down to a minute and 45 seconds left on the clock as Team Liquid do begin to make their moves, getting a little bit more lenient in their pushes as they're clearing out the angles. And we see Sexy Cake on the attack, walking his way down on the Nomad. We have the close angle cleared, using that drone as essentially the first point of recon, so he'll follow in quickly behind, with a trade potential of Pala being there.
Not too sure about the site choice here. 3 times we've seen MIBR defend Laundry. They've only won it once. Given what they've done elsewhere, they could well have gone to dorms here, where they did win in round 9 and they won quite convincingly. So I'm not sure whether that plays into the outcome or not here. We will see. If Liquid win this, it's definitely got to be one of the questions that is asked here. Going for a second time in a row when you've just lost it out last time around, I think it's potentially a big ask when you really need something out of the round.
It really can be. I'm scared that maybe it's a little bit too much that they want out of them. MIBR, all 5 alive. Doesn't matter if you got the numbers, if you're not hitting your shots. You've got to show that you can really be handy with those firearms that they've got, as they do start to slowly make their approach now and reposition around. They've got good angles for the post plant that should be able to make some kind of ruckus against Team Liquid when push comes to shove, but it looks like the shove is starting to occur. Team Liquid now really banging on the door as they want to force their way in. Moringa's down. That's Thatcher out of commission, but Nest trades it back. He's staying alive. He might be choking, but he's not choking away the round. response from Sexy K because he'll charge his way in, goes toe to toe, and only gets one on the encounter, leaving them down into a 3 versus 2. It's all to play for here, and it doesn't work well on the close encounter. Cyber cleaning up, but no bullet! He takes down his own teammate as he assaults the SAS man, shutting down Cyber and leaving such a horrendous task ahead of him. A 1 versus 2, but he's taking a good jab at him. He jumps on the diffuser, but the picture come around, Hannah taking out the wall. He's got him off the diffuser. He's forced him off 20 seconds. He needs to clean out on the peak, but the angle's being watched. Will he bait the fake? Tries to crouch walk his way in, but it won't matter. Pala will hit the shot. He shuts him down with the SMG. The clutch from the main man. The Sledge himself shows up for the boys in Team Liquid. Lives it large.
Time point. Can keep up that energy and momentum.
Obviously, going into that rehost, it can slow you down a little bit. We've seen it in the past, so it wouldn't be the biggest surprise if it did happen. However, the rest of the side certainly can still show up if they continue to play as well as they were. MIBR, again, slow and steady, as they are a bit of a slow burner in terms of these rounds. We haven't really seen that characteristic MIBR burst that's been coming out. We've definitely seen it in the past, where they do like to turn the tides and just charge their way in and go for something aggressive. Whereas right now, they know the quality of competition they're up against. They have certainly been playing with an awful lot of respect here.
And I'm sure that respect will continue as this one goes on. Up indoors again, and MIBR, they're surely going to be feeling confident coming out of round number 5. They did a very good job of assaulting on here. They just managed to encircle Team Liquid. It just made it very difficult for them to breathe, let alone move. There was just absolutely no freedom for them whatsoever. You can see just due diligence being played there. Cameraman, I think it was King, just getting that Claymore down so that he can move around a little bit more freely. What a nade from Cameraman, shutting down PSK, taking the mute off the board. That's a Nitro gone as well, and that is a great opener for MIBR.
Winding that one back, Cameraman, known for strong forearms and even better 3-pointers. He dunks on him with the HE, blowing him to high hell, dropping him out of the server. Information galore coming in. He pushes his way in as well, using the Iana drone to recon every single play. They know the locations now of the defenders. They're hitting their shots as well. Dropping another man down and out of commission. Next up is the same fate. It's all on Moringa. He's in a 1 versus 3. He still has a single smoke can left to try and roll with. He sees the rope. He knows they're forearms and even better free one back.
Cutting down PSK, taking the mute off the board. That's a Nitro gone as well, and that is a great opener for off the board. That's a Nitro gone as well, and that is a great opener for MIBR.
Winding that one back, Cameraman, known for strong forearms and even better 3-pointers as he dunks on him with a HE, blowing him to high hell and dropping him out of the server. Information galore coming in as he pushes his way in as well. Using the Iana drone. サイバーとか足で落ちて、だけどプラント入ってカメラマン見てて、サッチャーがいて、ノマドが見る。It's all on Moringa. He's in a 1 versus 3. He still has a single smoke can left to try and roll with. He sees the rope. He knows they're coming, but he doesn't want to dash himself out. He's got a hold. He's got to peek into it. It favors Cameraman as he capitalizes on the kill and cleans up in quick succession. Oh, from dunking to dropping funk on the last man, dancing his way towards the top. That's the end of the half, Tim, as it gets rounded up at a smooth 3-3.
3-3, and I'm not sure we would have predicted that, or anybody else at home would have done coming into this. We know this is going to be a close match. We knew that coming into it. It was difficult to call, but right now, that is a great attacking half for MIBR, especially on a map where we have seen more difficulty.
W7M.
Impact frags.
7M, as you say, guarantee themselves a draw. That limits Liquid now to only 2 points at most. But right now, I can't see them even. Big clutch player as well. Freezo, great support player, has his moments.
Try and best them here.
I don't think you want to play Team Liquid there. So for me,
Coastline's been taken out. Takes that came out from Liquid where they just barely let them slip through the crack.
Operator, difficult to play into sometimes, particularly on defense. Oregon, I'm thinking about down on laundry, not too much of a surprise. W7M do not want to be coming up against a clash, holding down bunker, holding down pillars. So yeah, not too much of a surprise. Mirror going as well. Capitao, you know, great utility across the board from him, free speed as well. So always a potential fragger. So him, but fairly standard balance. Like you said, the clash slightly unusual, but completely understand the reasoning for that one.
Yeah, you can feel it, you can dig it, and hopefully you can dig the series. Everyone at home, definitely strap in for this one, as this should be another banging collection of games. The whole day has been really impressive, Tim. From top to bottom, obviously coming back in for our opening series of the night, we've been spoiled with the results. Tell your friends about this one, bring them along. If you're in TeamSpeak, drop the link to all of them and just say, get in here, as it's about to go down. W7M starting off, of course, on the attack. Liquid will be rocking it on the defense. Let's see where this is going to go here on Oregon as we get into the first round of the game.
W7M, they've struggled a little bit on the attack here on Oregon, which really doesn't help them. On the map that they need to come away with a result for, they're up against Team Liquid and they're starting on the weaker side. Generally speaking, 25% or a lower win rate on every side that they've attacked here. So winning less than 1 in 4 rounds on the attack, that would suggest that they come away here 2-4 at best, maybe 5-1 to Team Liquid. It's not going to be an easy start for them.
Yeah, you're not getting any freebies. You're not getting any easy ways in. It's terrifying as well, right? Because obviously coming into it, you walk into Oregon, you're like, okay, first map Oregon versus Team Liquid. Yeah, boys, we can get into this. We can try ease into the game. You know exactly what's going to happen, Tim. It will be the Liquid lockdown. They'll absolutely dominate for the first couple of rounds here on defense. At that point, W7M, you know, you're going to have to give yourself a bit of a head wobble to get back into it. It just feels like the classic curse to start off a game like this because we just know how damn good Liquid are.
A big factor for Team Liquid is, of course, Nesk and Palu, and just exactly how much they can bring to the table. We know how capable they are, and Nesk just likes to give us a little demonstration there. Beautiful peek onto the head of Herds, and that will take the Ash off the board. Not the huge loss for W7M, but it is just the start of a process for Team Liquid. 1 by 1, the dominoes fall, and 1 by 1, they win the rounds, and that is exactly how Team Liquid will get you. It's just drip, 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 monotonous victories from them. They just keep on wearing you down.
They crash on you like a wave, Tim, with such force and power. It just absolutely buckles your bones. Monty, though, he's got big bones. They're thick. And carrying that shield around all day. But let's see if he'll be able to actually push his way in and bully past the stairways. Going up against the smoke, it's not ideal. You might be able to block bullets, but you can't block particles in the air. So it's going to do a bit of a number on him. He has to backpedal and try to find a different way to force them out of position. Still testing his might, though, towards, of course, the smoke and the alibi. They're trying to bait him down with the shots to see if they can actually execute out to get another hit on the board. 3 players there. Good timing with the smoke canisters to drop it down. This is actually played perfectly because obviously he's got to push in. It's a free frag at that point, and he's isolating the other 2 members. Beautiful play from Moringa.
Nothing less than you would expect from this Team Liquid side, and I'm sure they're going to be keen to send a message today. This is why I talk about a potential hornet's nest here, and that's Team Liquid coming back from a loss against Team 1 that wasn't really expected, and they've got a message to send coming into those majors. They don't want anybody thinking there's going to be easy pickings coming from them, and Moringa showing, along with Palu there, that there is no easy pickings here. Padrin will shut down Palu eventually, but it still leaves us in a 1 versus 4 with Freeze out. He gets the first, that will be a down onto PSK. 1 versus 3 effectively now, takes the opportunity to get the reload off. It's unlikely PSK will be picked up at this point. Not enough time. As the kill comes in, Moringa takes Freeze out. Second on the round. Great play from Team Liquid. 2 for Palu, 2 for Moringa, 1 for Nesk. And that is 2 of the 3 players that you really worry about getting running here.
Yeah, if they come out swinging from the get-go, then it just means that your life is going to be so much harder. There'll be no easy ones. It'll be an arduous fight from beginning to end. It does seem like we have had a player drop out, though. Guy's gone immediately. So obviously we'll fill that with a nice little replay. Well done, Simon. Good job aiming on the execution. I love this play, by the way. I thought this was actually really sick with the way it was pulled off. Obviously utilizing both of the smoke cans to force one back and then get the side shot off onto the shield. A brilliant way to completely counter the Monty, Tim.
Oh, it was great plays, like you say. It was just absolutely perfect.
Yeah, man.
They were prepared for it. And nice victory against Black Dragons last week.
I'm out. Out. He's now back in, and we're ready to carry on.
So we've got a little bit of a band wave coming through there. Always buoys my heart to see it, Jackie. So long, goodbye, farewell, never mind.
Straight sledging him out.
Off we go. Into round number 2 then, we are looking at Liquid having taken the first round down on Laundry. They're going to come in to defend Dorms this time around. So the attack generally on Dorms will sort of position itself in a semicircle around the bottom of your screen. So right hand side, you've got the attic. They're going to look to push in through Big Tower, get themselves through attic and get control. Bottom of your screen, now even after the rotate, we've got the armory and master bedroom area. So you're looking to take control over there. Once you have control of both of those areas, you can push into games room where you can see the table football and PSK shooting out the wall, and that's generally where your default plant spot is. You're trying to force all the defenders back into dorms, back into kids' dorms, and just make them fight long angles as best you can, and there's no real way for them to challenge other than vertically then onto the default plant spot. So we'll see how W7M do with that, what sort of progress they make, how they get themselves into attic and master what control they get, and how that plays out as the round goes on.
As the round goes on, let's see if it will be what we expected in terms of the rapidly increasing levels of Liquid lunacy, where Team Liquid just start to dominate and decimate on every single turn. As right now, we're into the second round. There's 2 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock. We haven't had any close contact coming out just yet. We do have one man on the roam, aggressing and looking for an opening pick. It's Herds on the ash, looking to try and make use of the opening potential he has. He's caught wind of the audio cues as well from the rotate from Sexy Cake there, Tim, and he is skulking behind, slithering around, looking for an opportunity to catch it.
All the barbed wire on these stairs is not going to make it an easy push for Herds from here. They are likely to be aware of his approach. We can see there's at least one of Team Liquid just playing tight up there at the top. I think it might be the Kaid of PSK just trying to lock down those white stairs, and as soon as Herds moves, he's likely to find himself challenged. I don't think PSK will take 2 heartbeats about getting out to the top of those stairs and just looking to get that early kill and that early advantage. So the barbed wire is going to be a big problem, and right now Herds, he's just going to have to hold himself on this angle until his team can start to make considerable noise elsewhere on site so that he can move up potentially undetected.
He has been waiting for so long, frozen in time, holding this angle, just waiting to decimate and at least be able to pick off one player and open up the round on the rotation, or be able to come in with the backstab on the late round of the execute. There's 50 seconds left. Finally Herds gets given an opportunity, and it's a big impact frag as well. He takes down Nesk, a man that normally is such a nuisance maker for the side of Team Liquid. The fact he's been popped into a coffin is fantastic for W7M going into the second round here. 35 seconds left to try and contend with, though, Tim. They have to make the mad dash towards the site. The diffuser down. Issue is, the site is infested with the rest of Team Liquid. They are staking their claim for this territory. They are not willing to give it up for free. Sexy Cake proving that as he goes gun-ho against Herds, finds the kill, keeps himself clean as well in terms of the damage he's taken. He's low, but he's still alive. He can still contend the longer this one goes on. Abru comes back through with the response onto the gun there, taking down another man. The Sexy Cake will be dropped. Everyone panicking as they're inhaling all of the damage and toxins, Tim. They're trapped in the site, and it's not going to be pretty if they can be smoked as the rotation comes around. PSK spotted and punished, and Palu has to come through like a pain train. Pulls into the station, gets the first, spots out the second, and serves up success. Marenga will drop freeze out with the shotty, goes on the double down onto Panico as he'll pop him off and send him to sleep. Palu will jump on the diffuser. That's the second round. Liquid as they clean up on the retake.
Great retake there. I mean, when you've got Palu in a retake situation, you will
use out the second Palu. Oh, but he's infested with the rest of
狼いて、
Team
タ
Liquid,
ワ
they
ー
are
いて、4
staking their
人
claim
い
for
る
this。territory, and they are not willing to give it up for free.
リード
Sexy
のと
Cake
ころ
proving
は
that as he goes
見
gun
て
ho
る。
against Herds,
マベガン
finds the
で、
kill and keeps
盾が
himself clean as well in terms of the damage he's
こ
taken.
う
He's
神
low,
の
but he's
熊
still
のところ
alive.
行
He can
っ
still
て、プラン
contend.
ト行
The
ける
longer
準
this one
備。どこだ？いや、下に一人降り
goes
て
on,
るわ。
Abru comes back through with the response onto the gun there, taking down another
降
man.
り
As
て、
Sexy Cake will be
突き上げ
dropped.
てやかなんか
Everyone
したかな。
panicking as
降
they're
りて、
inhaling
やっ
all of the damage and toxins.
て、だから、あれか。
Him,
あ
they're
そこ
trapped
さ
in
す
the
がに
site,
マベ
and
で
it's
も
not going to be
無理なの
pretty if
か。
they can be smoked as the
降りてなく
rotation
て、
comes around. PSK spotted and punished, and Palu has to come through like a pain train. Pulls into the station, gets the first, spots out the second, and serves up success as Moringa
ああ、
will
そういう
drop
感じ
freeze
か。
out with the shotty, goes on the double down onto Panico as he'll
下、
pop him off and
下
send
に
it
行った
to
の
sleep.
が
Palu
良
will
かったの
jump
か、
on the
下行っ
diffuser.
て、
That's the second round going the way of
窓、
Team Liquid
ラ
as they
ペを
clean
引
up
き
on
ず
the
り
retake.
降りさせたのが、
Great retake there. I
下に
mean, when you've got Palu
降り
in a
て、
retake situation,
窓
you
ラペ
always
を
feel like there's going to be an opportunity for them to close it out, and that's exactly what happened.
引きつ
Great
け
play
た。
from Moringa as well. Don't want to overlook that. He did fantastically well there. Just helping with that shotgun play to clear out the Monte and allow them to get onto the diffuser
待って
there
る
to get the disable. We can see, I noticed the Breu has joined us there, so Guy has obviously been unable to rejoin, so a little bit of a substitution. It's something that we've seen from W7M
ま
unfortunately
たリ
recently,
ホ
so
ストで
Guy
す。
obviously having considerable problems there, and that's something. Yeah, at the minute with it now we can.
About why it seems like maybe there's lower FPS at the minute, or it's a little bit stuttery. Again, it's just internet issues. We're sorry, it's just the nature
1、2、
of the home
3、
streams at the minute. Hopefully, this will sort of even out a little bit as it
防衛。
goes on, but we are getting back into it and carrying on with the game. So we are live, of course. We're continuing on from where we left off. If you are confused about the roster of W7M, we had Guy drop out, and he's been subbed in, of course, by
ああ、
Abru,
これ
who's come
3
through
ラウンド
to
目。
just
リ
fill
ホス
out
ト
the
してる
roster
間に
and
終
of
わっちゃっ
course
たんだ。
fill that role as a fifth man. W7M, though, doing damage when it comes to the manpower into the game so far. Herds herding frags together as he'll charge out and find the kill onto PSK. Now, they've actually got an advantage. Well, they did have an advantage until, if you cut your eyes and blinked for a second, Tim, you would have missed it. There's been a response back as this round is getting ridiculous. We're down to a 2 versus 2 with 35 seconds left to work with. It's close to the wire, and they're fighting tooth and nail into it to see who is going to be standing tall at the end. Moringa shutting them down
いや、
with the
終わってねえし。
SMG. It's all on freeze out. The Maverick, the Lone Ranger, the Solo Gunner. Can he clutch it for the side of W7M, or will this be a third round for Liquid? You've got Moringa on the smoke, of course, dropping out the toxins. He'll run
Yeah,
through
it's
it, confused, hard to see, eyes closed, and he won't be waking up.
First time that we have seen Team Liquid win on the meeting site here on Oregon. They've tried it twice previously unsuccessfully, but they managed to lock it down there and get things secured. So they are now 3-0 heading into round 4, and this is not looking good for W7M at the minute. We don't want to sort of push onto it as a crutch too much, but obviously they have lost Guy. They've brought in a Breu, so that is impacting them as well. And right now, Team Liquid, they look like dispatching this in quick fashion as it stands at the minute. They are 3-0, looking, I'm sure, to take this one in as quick a fashion as they can.
But it also comes back to sort of the topic we were talking about in the game with NIP, right? Where it's like if you're going to be this champion team, if you're going to be this unstoppable force that everyone needs to know, you are the beasts from Brazil, then obviously coming into a game like this where W7M, we've seen they've got upset potential. We've seen they've been able to go toe-to-toe with some of the best in the biz, but obviously you need to prove that you can shut that down and you can get a very dominant win over them to secure that position, get yourself an abundance of points so there's no chance anyone can even come close to taking that first seed off you, which it doesn't look like there is a possibility for, and just live it large when you get into the bracket play in the major.
Coming into the action phase then, round number 4, and W7M, they need to be finding something sooner rather than later here, because the more momentum Liquid get, as you say, not just towards that major, but here on the map in Oregon, the more momentum that they get, the more rounds that they win, the more difficult it is going to be exponentially each time to try and take those individual rounds, because as these players get more confident, they start taking more gunfights, getting more aggressive, pushing up more into your face, and you will find everything just getting harder and harder. Right now, we are on the attack towards Laundry. We saw this back in round 1, and Team Liquid were successful. They managed to get the win. reasonably easily. W7M didn't really show us too much in terms of being able to take this one. They were shut down completely on the freezer stairs, if you remember. Big plays from Moringa and Palu just teaming up to absolutely shut that down. Now, interestingly, we've seen this angle from the glass before. Panico is going to hold into bunker here. He's going to use that thermal scope as best he can to try and pick up somebody who is holding down this bunker angle. It's usually Nesk who will play in this area on the Jaeger. I think that's who we can see ahead of us there. So nothing drastically changed. Now, question is he going to overpeak this? Is he going to put himself onto the chopping block in front of Panico?
Panico, on the other hand, will he be a sniper with a hell of a scope and be able to pop off and take off a head or two against the Team Liquid players? As right now, Team Liquid suffering losses. They've cut off one of the heads of the Hydra as Moringa's dropped, leaving it up to the rest to try and seal the deal and patch up this leak, Tim, as there is a flood occurring. A flood of W7M players coming in, and they're attempting to contest against the big man himself, Palu, the Punisher, the absolute legend, up on the elevated angle, spots out the drone. If he swings wide, is he aware of the man laying prone? Will peek into him, Herds straight back off the drone, peeks up, reveals his head. Oh, and Palu's still rolling with it as well as he comes in close, gets contact onto the second. Easy shots to down him, goes back in for the double face to secure the deal and guarantee he's dead, then falls back into the preferred angle, up on top of the box, and probably on top of the box. If another peep comes round, you imagine that'll be the hat trick, and of course it is. How do you stop him?
Palu is unstoppable. That is his key characteristic. And right now, he's got a 3k on the round and he is just moving through them for fun. PSK will get the kill onto Panico there. That leaves us 1 versus 4 in favour of Team Liquid. And unfortunately, we've got a little bit of a freeze again, but I think we all know which direction this round is going. I think we're going to find ourselves 0-4 with Team Liquid at the advantage on the scoreboard now.
Also, I mean, if it was going to freeze, at least it freezed after we saw the 3K. Like, we got that gem coming out from Palu. We got to see the man himself just absolutely living it large. And it just goes to show, right? The quality of rounds Liquid pick up at this point, when you've got to assume that that's going to be their 4th now in the bag, and it's an undefeated streak that they've been on, it just shows mechanically, Tim, coming into this matchup, how damn good they're looking. It's scary.
Palu's just ridiculous. That's what we've seen there. The biggest kill of those 3 for me is the one onto Herds, the first kill that he gets. So he's just ADSing on that box. He's obviously going pretty much from sound. I don't think he's got too much feedback and information in terms of cameras or anything like that. So he's gone off sound. He's a judge that maybe somebody is behind the box. That's where the challenge is likely to come from. The game sense is just off the charts at that point. And as soon as the man pops up, barely has to move his crosshair. Huge dangers of that, Jackie.
My dad would, Tim.
Right now, W7M are your father.
It feels like it. They've taken a hefty segue to the head, Tim. 4 rounds on the spin. Team Liquid have been building up that big MPH, and they are rocketing into this one. I bet for anyone that didn't watch that stream, they're just so baffled about anything we've just said, by the way.
I'm sure that they are. I mean, to give you a quick catch-up, basically, Jackie told us about a time on holiday where he ran over his dad's head on a Segway, and just like Team Liquid, I'm sure he didn't look back. Carried on, plowing forward, enjoying the wind in his hair, the breeze in his beard. I'm presuming you had a beard, Jackie. I picture you with a beard from a very young age.
I definitely had a mustache. I had I had the breeze and the mustache, Tim. That bad boy would have been flapping.
I'm sure it would have been. And right now, W7M are flapping themselves. They don't know how to steady the ship here. They are struggling to get themselves into this one. 4-0 for Team Liquid as it stands at the minute. And you just have to think that surely this one goes 6-0 at this point. W7M have never really shown us any chance or opportunity that they might be able to get themselves into this one. It has been a struggle for them so far. None of the rounds have been especially close. They did get the diffuser down on one, but Palu and Moringa just absolutely mopped up the 2v2. It just wasn't much of a challenge. And right now, that's how the whole game feels.
It does feel like they're just manhandling them, right? Like Liquid have gone in with both arms. They've scooped up W7M. It just looks like at this point they're their plaything. They just can't stop them. They can't hold them back. They can't slow them down. They can't avoid the encounters into the rounds either, because Liquid is just taking the fight to them half the time. Again, as proved by this lunatic himself. Look at him. Nesk swinging into action. Overthrows your entry fragger. That's Herds down and out. seconds in again. You're coming up to the minute mark. You're now into a 4 versus 5, and it could very quickly be slashed down into just a 3 versus 5 if they're not careful, as they're taking body shots and being softened up. Sustainability of W7M is looking like a massive question mark to him.
Rizzo is just looking to apply pressure from that double window there, but he needs to be careful. Team Liquid are well aware of his presence and they are making challenges themselves. They've got the game room wall open, so that is a point to the credit for W7M that they are at least part way towards getting access to that default plant spot. We can see the deployable shield cleared out, so not terrible progress here. Sexy K holding a really tight angle. He's going to make the challenge there, but he will lose out. Takes a lot of damage, but so does Padrin, and he has to dip away. Panico will get the kill onto Nesk to level things up, but with 15 seconds left to go, they are playing into tough angles here. Diffuser is down, and this round is done as Abreu moves in to pick that up. He will get a kill. Freezo gets a double. Diffuser is in hand. 3 versus 1 now, with only PSK left on the board, and I called that one too. The diffuser is going down. PSK is looking to move in and get a retake. He'll get 1. Does he get 2? He does have the down, and that is it. Padrin is down. PSK really unaware. But there will come a point where he pushes forward and realizes it's only a matter of time, and he's got plenty of time left on the clock. There's no way PSK loses this. 1 versus 3. I didn't call it too soon, Jackie. I really thought that I saw myself look like a kipper there, but no. The diffuser will come in. No, we've got it. We've got it.
Woo! Oh, Tim.
はてなはてなはてな。そうですよね。はてなはてなはてな。ラフから2人ぐらい、2人か3人ぐらい入った気がする。みたいな。
Oh, mate. It would have been even. I can't even think, Tim.
It would have been even worse if it was 30 seconds sooner and we missed the PSK 1v3. One brain, Jackie, one brain.
There we go. That's why we've got the synergy. That's why we're unstoppable as a duo, Tim. And that's why we know that Liquid can win these types of clutches.
終えてなかったのかな、PSK は。
And that man reigns supreme.
でも、あ、そっか、真ん中まで来てたもんな。マベリック。
I was going to say NIP. For Team Liquid. When does it end? Does it end? Can they be stopped? Is this going to be a uniform game?
これ
They
は
just walk away with a 7-0,
これは
Tim?
これ
Are
は
we going to see it?
一回これはサラオでユニスはどっちだ会議かな。おー、会議っぽい。
PSK comes out from Attic, gets 2 kills into the backs of players. So, you know, potentially you've got one watching
守りが毒。あー、また限界ブラザーズか。家がエレーター変わってない。
the archway between game room and the trophy room area. Nobody was watching out of that area. Nobody was watching towards Kids' Dorms. Nobody was watching towards Attic. There was no gun trained on that. There was 2 of them alive at that point. There was a 3rd man down. But he was just able to come out and get those kills for free. There was no challenge. He didn't take a single bullet of damage. And that is a problem. If you're going to get the diffuser down, you need to be ready to react quickly. And right now, W7M, they've been thrown off of the kilter. You know, they're really struggling to steady the ship here. And we know that W7M are a better team than that. I'm not trying to overly criticise, but what I'm saying is they're not playing up to the potential that they've shown us previously.
No, we've seen great things in the past. We know normally they'd be able to contend, at least get rounds on the board here, but I suppose it is obviously take that with a grain of salt, because you've got Team Liquid that have been on championship form throughout the whole tournament, and they're on their defense on Oregon, which is quite possibly the icing on top of already a very liquid flavored cake. And it's just not worked for W7M. They had the opportunity, obviously, it could have been their first round on the board, and they just get Lady Luck on their side. PSK plays it perfectly, poised to perfection, decimates his way through, scoops up that round, gets the 5th on the board for Team Liquid, and at this point, it's just looking like there is no option for W7M to come into the game. It feels like it is already too late, but they still have their sights set on at least contending. Pedro, he would be the man to do it. He gets 1. Oh, the blind frag. The man can't see, but it don't matter. Not only is he a daredevil by nature, it seems he's a daredevil by superpower as well. Just fighting through the blindness, bests out Herds, and at this point you're back into a 4v4.
車線だけ置いて引く感じなのかな。いや、戦うんか、あいつよ。強いな。下行って、どうせロビーから行っちゃうの？教室入ってるっぽい。
Opening kill for Nesk onto Herds. Hertz
が、
has had one in
もう下に
return
3
on Tanesk, and that's just not good enough for
いや、
W7.
そうで、
Two kills
そ
coming
う
in
な
there
る
for
よ。
Liquid. Padron
やば
trades
す
one
ぎる。
out in between, so we find ourselves 3
はい。
versus
で、
2 now, and
あ、
things
セク
are
シー
once
限界。
again not
いやー、
good
すごい。
in the
耐え
favour
る
of
のかよ。強
W7M.
すぎる。
Abreu manages to put some shots onto Sexy K Cup
あ、
on the
今
rear
感じある
stage
のかな
area there.
違
He's
うな、ミュー
looking
ト
to
か。
challenge further. Diffuser is on the ground, and it will be
い
a
や、
tough one
で、
to recover
ちょっと、
potentially. It's
マベと
only
か
a
トーチ
sort
一
of
回
a
も使ってな
stretched
い。
arm away, but if you've got the
で、
just watching over that with the ACOG,
サーバー
it
見
is
て、
going to be a
他
risky
の二人
challenge
が
we
セク
can
シー以
see
外の
for
二人上
Ezo.
がって
He's
んのか
looking
な。い
to
や、違う
buddy
わ。
up with his teammate now.
一人
He's looking to get himself in a
裏
position
取
to
って、
assist
もう
as
一
this
人が
diffuser
どっ
plant
ちか
starts
緑
to
の
go down. I don't think that Team Liquid are
僕
going to
焚い
make
て、
any
あ、
impact
ギリギ
on
リか
this.
かって
Out
ないけ
goes the
ど、
Toxic Babe canister
いや、
unsuccessfully. Can Moringa win out on the shotgun here? Yes, he can. He gets
い
a Abreu,
や
and
ー、
that is another
W7M、
post-plant win for Team Liquid. How many
どう
times
な
are
ん
they
だ。
going to do this and disable that
入
diffuser?
管
Retake Kings at the minute.
Mate, they are
さ
the
んって言ってた
lords
けど、
of
リ
retakes.
キッ
This is
ド
their
が、
domain.
リ
This
キッ
is
ドが
Team
強かっ
Liquid's
た。
map.
う
You
ん、
are merely
だかな。
visiting W7.
上行
They
っ
are
て、入ら
proving
せ
that
たところ
point
をしっかり
as they are just
挟んで、
decimating in every single
挟ん
encounter.
で、
A ridiculous
カ
game,
バー
an
してた。
absolutely bizarre one from the top to the bottom of it. It's been so sick to watch.
入れさ
Don't
せて、い
worry,
や、違
you're
う、
not
入っ
missing
て
out
き
on
た
anything
と
as well. I
ころ
know we
で、
pop
う
back
ん、
to the camera
下
shot.
入っ
We are
て、
literally just switching the feeds over
来
and then
た、
we'll be
カッ
jumping back
ト、
in. You
押さ
won't
せた、
miss a peep out
押
of what
さ
could
せ
very
た
possibly be the final round
と
of the
こ
game
ろ
here,
を、
Tim.
Yeah, we're just trying to bring you the sort of stability that Liquid
し
are
っかり
showing us here on
押
Oregon,
さえ
and we'll be
て、
back with that as soon as we can. But Liquid
押さえて、
absolutely dominant
裏
so
取り
far.
も行く。
6-0, W7M struggling to even get a hair or
裏
a
取りも行く
toe
と。
into this game. There is just absolutely no
ま
room
さ
for
き
them
ポ
whatsoever.
スト
And the
が
thing is, I don't think it's
多
any
いで
better coming into
す。
the second map here, Jackie. You know, I think this was their opportunity, if anything.
Blatant defeat. Bounce back. Talk. Will be a 7-0. It will
あ、
be
や
flawless,
ばいやばい。
and they'll be dancing to the deciding
6、
round here
さ
potentially
あ、
for
7、
Team Liquid. If they get this one on the board, it will be
攻
a
撃、
7-0. It
W、
will be flawless,
攻
and
撃
they'll
は
be
オペレーター変わ
dancing
ってな
their
いか。
way to Cafe.
B、
I'm
地下、
sure we'll see some improved stability now with the
地
chain
下、
feeds
あ、
again.
これはワンチャン
Apologies
凸
for
が
any sort of
あるかな。
quality issues or anything. We are aware we're doing our best, but we've got, I think, some regional internet issues that are
ロビー
affecting the
5
feed
人
that
押
comes
す
through
のか
to
な。
us. So we're doing our best, and we're going to bring the excitement nonetheless. Don't you worry about that.
え、待って、で
Our
も、
quality
上前
never
が変
drops,
なところに
Jackie.
サーバーかな。2人
I
ぐら
hope
いい
not.
る。
We hit an average of
A
you know,
solid
medium
あ、
average.
会
to
議を守って
high
るのか。
at least most of the time.
5人で。いや、現地
Oh,
いい
but this
な。
game has been
一人しかいな
far
い。
from
いやー、
average,
強い。
Tim. And of course, he's
攻撃って
Nice.
どこでプラントするんだ。
How
はい、
is this
すぐでプラ
happening
ントしてる
already?
のか
They've come
な。し
into
て
the
るね。
round. It's been live for
選
mere
択の
seconds,
ところから。
Tim, and they're just
前行っ
annihilating
て、
everyone. It's already a 4 versus 2.
小部屋の
The
前でプラン
diffuser's
ト。
going down. It's over. It's going to be a flawless game.
や
It's
ばす
done.
ぎる。
Herds is the last one alive. You're in a 1
ほう
versus
いや、
4. The nitro goes down, but it means
ら
nothing.
し
No
い。いや、
nonsense
すぐ5
here.
人ロビーで
Liquid
も
clean
い
you
ける
up
んだ。
like a spilt drink. 7-0. Flawless game.
Out comes the kitchen paper there, as you say, to
サバ、
just mop up whatever
ラ
was
ス、
left of W7M, and I don't think it's going to be anything recognizable
27
after that map.
いやー、
That
強かっ
was
たな。
one of the quickest rounds, if not the quickest, that we have seen in this entire season so far.
74、
And for myself, I would go as far as
75、
to say in Siege in total, they absolutely ran through them there, and W7M, I'm sure, will be
よし。
happy just to get themselves off Oregon at that point. They will want to
じゃ
get
あ今日は
away
一
from
旦
that,
ここ
but
で終わ
they've
り
got
ま
more
す。
punishment
あり
to
がとう
come
ご
as
ざい
they
ま
move
して、
into
見
Cafe on map
見
number
て
2.
くださった
What
方、
a
ま
game.
たよかったら来てくださ
What
い。
a game. That's ridiculous,
じ
man.
ゃあ、お
As a,
疲
as a
れ
test
様
of
で
time,
す。
as a point to
ピコ
prove that Liquid are some of the absolute best
あ、
in
待っ
the
て。
seed,
マス
and
タ
that
ー、
they can
一
just
回の枚
dominate
数
at
分かって
every
たんで
turn,
すかね。
Tim.
あ、じゃあ、そ
They've
そこ
proved
まで
that.
見ましょう。でもどうなんですかね。
Two now,
分かっ
things are once again
ては、
not going themselves. They
最後、
don't
とつ
know
る
how
とき
to
に、多分現地見
Bit
て上
large
いない
when
み
you
た
get
い
into
な
the bracket play.
感じだったかも。
There we go. That's why we've got the synergy. That's why we're
こ
unstoppable as a duo.
the ACOG that is in.
Mate, they are
Yeah, I don't think it's any better coming into the second map here.
deal. Round.
I'm sure we'll
Potentially, it
ちょ
seems.
っとドロー
We're
ンだけ
going
見ま
back
しょう。
in, of course,
いえい
to
え、あ、
the
スパチャ。
deciding
どうぞ。
round here,
で、
potentially, for
ド
Team
ローン
Liquid.
が、
If they get this one on the board, it will be a 7-0. It
ロビー
will
と
be flawless, and they'll be
教室
dancing
と
their way to cafe.
多分今、あそこで盾を置いたの見たかもしれないですね。カフェじゃねえや、サーバーら辺に盾置いたのを見た。で、ドローンはどうしてるかな。今ドローン見て、123。ドローン1個、ここはどこだ？あ、バンカーか。バンカーの前の部屋選択。あれか、2階の S 字のサーバー前廊下か。見て、ワンチャン上守ってる説みたいな。で、グレだけ見て、あ、でも、警報アラームがついてたけど、すぐ降りてくるわけじゃないですね。SSG とかだったら、こういう守りしたらすぐ、感知アラーム鳴ったところに降りてきそうだけど。やって、しっかり選択に走り込むから、ミラポジの前でプラントしても大丈夫で、選択、ロケホも1人いて、よし。あ、で、しっかりカメラも置きドローンを置いて、いやー、すごい。これは割り切った強かった。よし、じゃあ、ありがとうございました。来てくださった方、マスター、スパーツフェチマスターさんもいつもありがとうございました。じゃあ、また、ちょっと、明日の夜か明日らへんまたやるかもしれないんで、来てください。本当に判断、強ですね、判断。じゃあ、またお願いします。